7:03 p.m. It's Friday. It's the 25th of June, 2021. I'm Mo Delgado, and this is the New Norm 2.0. I'm hoping everyone is enjoying the day for what it is, another gift. Hoping everyone is well. As I'm telling you about some things that are happening nationwide, I'll be making sure that everything that is supposed to be on track is on track with the studio. As you know, seems to be always a delay, and there's always some issue that seems to be had on Facebook that always seems to get in the way. I'll be making sure that everything. Yep, you hit it. So let me try to get it up where it needs to be. But I hope everybody's supposed to be on track is on track with the studio, as you know. And it's always the same process, sad to say. But truth is the truth, and we will have nothing but it. Hope everybody's well. Seems like Facebook added some more features on the live process. That ought to be cool. Now I'm waiting for my YouTube is usually on point. I'm like, where you at? Where you at? Okay, here we go. I want to make sure everything's on point there. Oh, I have to stop typing so late at night. It seems like when I put in the information, instead of putting 2.0, it's 2.0. Forgive me, y'all. That's what happens when you do things at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. So, I think we're about up. All right, folks. It is the New Norm 2.0. I'm your boy, Mo Delgado. Welcome to the show. I hope everybody's doing well. It's been a really difficult week, to say the least. A difficult week. Well, let me give you some updates and some things that I know have transpired. One is a building in Florida collapsed. A condominium collapsed. It looked like it was a 25-floor building. Collapsed in the city, Surfside City in South Florida. You know, nationwide, you're always going to hear, there's a city in Miami or a property in Miami had collapsed. No, it's not Miami, it's Surfside City. It's a city outside of Miami, Florida, and unfortunately collapsed. The death toll is yet to be released. However, they're saying it's 4 dead with 159 people still missing. Let's keep them in prayer. Let's keep them in our minds to make sure that, you never know who's related to whomever in Florida, and whether we have relatives or friends and families or just human beings, period, stuck in that building. Let's keep them in prayer. Let's hopefully, let's hoping to find some people alive. And for those people who have passed on, let's pray for their families. Let's do what we can to ensure that those families are aware that we care for them. But the structure that's in question, they're saying that salt water has a tendency of going in and out of the cracks and crevices and buildings. And one of the discussions is the inner pylons of the building, which are metal, may have rusted. And it's hard to tell whether they're rusted until you do a deep internalized an investigation how things have gone. I remember some years ago when the ocean was still being built and they had just the foundation, the actual skeleton of the building was still up, and we were having issues with the water suppression system up there. And I kept saying, I think people weren't paying attention how oxidation seems to happen a lot more quicker in salt air than it would be outside of that. And it just brought the attention to some things that, just at that time, some people may not be aware of. When you have buildings that are aligned seawater, the ocean water itself, because of the high salt content, salination, has a tendency of increasing the oxidation process, and rust happens So it's some of the things that have to be treated. And sometimes you have master builders or companies that are fully aware of working in this type of atmosphere. And what they do is they prepare pylons by having some form of chemical treatment on the outside to ensure that none of that stuff, no oxidation takes place. So we're hoping that we don't see more of that. But sadly enough, forgive me, Florida is known to be a state where a lot of people retire in. A lot of these surfside or oceanside communities are comprised of a lot of buildings, tall buildings that are built to have multiple residencies, condominiums and apartments or what have you. A lot of times you see senior citizens retiring, hoping to have lived their golden years. So let's do what we can to make sure that we reflect the human aspect, and let's keep them in our prayers. Another thing that just transpired not too long ago was Derek Chauvin was found guilty, of course we know, and he was hit with 22.5 years prison term. The national discussion is right now, is it good enough? Was it just a little drop in the bucket as justice continues? The discussion is going to go on because ultimately the small victories can finally add up. The fact that there was a victory in a court system that isn't necessarily known to side with the public. I'm not saying justice only falls on one side, but you've seen it too often. And too many times it appears that justice only benefits one side rather than both sides or any side that's on the right side of the law. So, and in this situation, Derek Chauvin, the case itself was heart-wrenching because you hear testimony from his daughter, family members, even the mother of Derek Chauvin, and their points of view are always heart-wrenching. Some of it is in contention to the general public. The compassion that is had at times when we have to think of little girls being raised in a world without their fathers after having their fathers in their lives and being so enamored and having a great relationship. And we've seen that repetitively in our communities where fathers are not in the lives of their kids for whatever reason. And in this situation, it's because he was taken by an officer choosing malice over justice and didn't care about his life and chose to do what he did, ended up with George Floyd dying. So as we move forward, this discussion is going to continue going because the question is always going to be had. When in comparison to the national justice system and how people of color have been treated in the national justice system or nationally in the justice system, does this equate? Does this bring some balance? Does it look to be balanced in comparison to other situations where someone have executed their duties and killed someone? It's going to be a long-standing debate, but it's something that needs to be had. I pray that the family of George Floyd can find some semblance of comfort in knowing that Derek Chauvin will have to sit in jail for whatever term, for however long he's supposed to sit in jail and however jail. But that also raises that other question. Some people think or ask that question, do you think he'll be in there long? Do you think he'll actually sitting in jail for the entire 22 and a half years? And people's opinions are going to vary. If you know the justice system, you know sometimes 22 and a half years can turn into 60 years, if not longer, which we see too often with people of color. Or it could be a lot shorter, and they always say for good behavior and for productive activity inside, they chip away at the sentence, and 22 and a half years can end up being 22 months. And the justice has shown that type of different perspective at different times. So we know that could happen also, but that's still, again, a question that needs to be answered as we go along. You know, how long? And will it equate justice? And is justice still looking as J-U-S-T, U-S, or is it justice as in J-U-S-T-I-C-E? We don't know, but let's keep pushing because ultimately his life meant something to all of us. In the scope of the national agenda, his life, he was a martyr. And we need to celebrate the gains had because of the injustice put upon him and his family and the society in general. We continue to hold him in our hearts for what he symbolizes, and for those people who knew him, for the essence of the man. And let's continue to keep fighting for justice, because ultimately there's a lot of people out there who haven't gotten the rightful amount of justice in comparison to others in the justice system. We want to make sure that everyone is safe and everyone gets the same levels of protection, provisions, entitlements, whatever phrase you like to use, but we want to make sure justice is equal. Equity is important. So that discussion continues. Also, the United States Department of Justice, the DOJ, announced today that they are taking and suing the state government of Georgia. The U.S. Department of Justice and the Attorney General coming together and suing the state governor of Georgia and all of the government officials involved in the recent action of restricting voters' rights in Georgia and the degree of voting restrictions and limitations that they voted or put in place with the executive power. So the DOJ is about to get in Georgia's behind, or at least the governor's concerned, and we're going to see how justice prevails also. As we continue, we know that voting system is extremely important to have in a democracy, and we have to keep on utilizing this process and making it better for all of us. Although we've seen too often that democracy only works for those that are privileged, well, the process itself, the electoral process, only benefits all those who are on the inside or part of a clique or part of a grander scope of economic investment. It's still the system that we depend on, and it works on many different facets in different ways. So we have to make sure that it benefits the people, and we need to continue to be supportive of it and build on it and ensure that it stays intact with the integrity that it has, if not better, and ensures that everyone has a vote and everyone has the voice. So as that moves on, we have to really pay attention how things are moving forward. Also, at a grander scale, worldwide, just recent reports, BBC Australia, I think it was BBC Australia, Australian News, had reported that in Queensland's University in Australia, they're developing not a vaccine, but they're developing a medicine right now that is nanotechnology that will thoroughly attack COVID-19 or the SARS-CoV-19 virus without damaging any other cell in the body. This is an aggressive approach to eradicating COVID-19. And if it's successful, and they're right now, the test trials in the second phase, they're moving into a third phase really soon. So in the second phase in COVID-19, there is a partnership with another organization, a nonprofit here in the United States, in developing this. And in doing so, and I can't remember the name, and I wanted to get it prior to the show, but I'll try to find it. They're saying that it's effective up to 99.9%. The abilities of this injection that you have with nanotechnology going into the body kills 99.9% of all SARS-CoV-19 cells in your body. What does that say? It means for anybody who's already had COVID-19 in their system and possibly you're not getting affected or you are suffering from the symptoms of COVID-19, this can be injected a place in your body and it defends and attacks those cells. So you will survive quicker and eradicates whatever is inside you. And then you are safe and clear from SARS-CoV-19. Their target is to try to elevate the speed of success when dealing with this. And they want to try to have it available in India, where there's millions of people who are struggling and fighting for their lives, suffering from COVID-19 symptoms. So we're hoping that this serum, the symptom finally comes up, and the serum or this medicine, or I don't know exactly the term that they use, but it's a synthesized solution that was created to attack the COVID-19 cells. This is not like dismantling the cells. This is killing the cell. So if it kills the cell inside you, then it makes you, it frees you from those limitations. It frees you from the risk of it killing you, COVID-19, and it helps to repair the cells. So, as your cells are no longer being an attack COVID-19, SARS-CoV-19 cells, then your cells can rejuvenate. Your body has a healing mechanism that kicks in when it feels there's something in the body that shouldn't be, or something's attacking the body. So this is a leap forward. In my own personal opinion, I think the signs of this developing and how it's going, this could mean in the year 2022, we won't have to fear about COVID-19, SARS-CoV-19. Doesn't mean that it's going to eliminate that from that and we can go back to where it once was. No, we've learned from the mistakes that some of us have made. We've learned from how COVID-19 and SARS-CoV-19 hit us all. And we are still in danger because of the Delta variant. They're saying here in America, the Delta variant is even more aggressive than all others. Those of you who have been vaccinated have a greater potency, a greater potential of fighting this off, and it doesn't affect you as it would someone who isn't vaccinated. But the Delta variant seems to be very aggressive, and it makes it very difficult for individuals to breathe. So when it comes to the vaccine, were you aware that was 7 vaccines in the world? There's Pfizer and Moderna that we know about, AstraZeneca, which is 3, Sputnik, which is 4, Johnson & Johnson, which is 5. There is another called Sonerma, which is 6. And let me see if I can find exactly the vaccine comparison, and I'll show you. And I stumbled onto a comparative report that gave a real scope of the vaccines, and it gives you an understanding of how what vaccines exist, which blew my mind. I knew there was a lot, but I wasn't aware of how many and which ones. And I'll just I'll let you see 1 or 2 comparisons. Like, this is coming from BBC. And let me see if I can share with you this COVID-19. BBC is British Broadcasting Corporation. Let me share with you the image of the comparison. Let me give you some of the ones. Just going to give you a little view, and you can tell from what you see in front. I'll share with you some discussion on it. These pop-ups are killers, ain't they? Anyway, as you see the chart in front of you, you see the Oxford University, AstraZeneca, Moderna, Pfizer, and Sputnik V. That's the ones I was talking about before. So you have these 4. You have Johnson & Johnson, which is 5. You have the Moderna, which is 6. I'm trying to find the 7th one. The 7th one is extremely important because you get to see the fact that there's more than most of us are aware of, and that truth, it should give you some understanding of. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here we go. This is the chart. This is one of them. I think these are the ones that we talked about here, but I just want to show you the chart, and you can see the information. Okay. We see AstraZeneca, we see Moderna, we see Pfizer, Sputnik, CoronaVac, Sinovac, Novavax, and Janssen. These are the 7 different ones, and it tells you the origins of these vaccines. Moderna is from the United States. Pfizer is a combination of Germany and United States. The AstraZeneca is from the United Kingdom. Sputnik, of course, is from Russia. The Sinovac is in China. As you see the Chinese flag, I think that's the Chinese flag. Novavax, that's another one that seemed to pop up. I think that's the one that they're trying to put together in a pill form. And then the Johnson & Johnson, which is a combination of United States and I want to say it's one of the, it's not Switzerland. I think it could be Finland. But these are just examples of the different vaccines. If you look at comparisons, you'll get to see how a lot of these vaccines were looked at or dealt with at a long period of time. You know, they were given and provided a lot of time for research. Some of them were like really seemed to be shot up and pushed, which specifically speaking about Janssen/Johnson and Johnson, the J&J is what they're calling it. Then J&J vaccine seemed to be pushed, and it's extremely important that we pay attention to the vaccines themselves, because for those of us who aren't vaccinated, yes, extremely important that you pay attention to the vaccines that are available, what are there, and do your best research to make sure that you're choosing the best one. The ones that seem to be more readily available, of course, is Pfizer, which seems to be at every Walgreens and every CVS in America. So if that's what best suits you, you do what you got to do and get those 2 shots. This latest variant, the Delta variant, seems a little heads up for you as far as the variants concerned and the vaccinations. They said those of us who have already been vaccinated, at least 1 out of the 2, are better prepared than someone who's not vaccinated at all. Just because you didn't get the second and final vaccination in that series, it doesn't exclude you from safety-wise. It provides some levels of safety. So it gives you some comprehension as far as that's concerned, safety-wise. So keep pushing. For those who are vaccinated, let us know. Let us know if you've had any crazy side effects, or if it's just you went well. My wife was recently vaccinated, and thank God she had no side effects, which is really good. I'm really happy that she had no side effects. So as we move forward, just pay attention, y'all. It's extremely important that we stay in the mix and being informed. And here at the New Norm 2.0, we'll do what we can to keep you informed, making sure that you're aware, whatever we're aware of. Moving forward, President Biden recently spoke about part of his infrastructure bill that talked about crime intervention. As we're seeing spikes of crime and violence increase all over America, not just in small little spurts, but it seems to be in all the larger urban communities, urban meaning city, and cities where population is high. Those areas are affected by violence and crime a lot more than other cities. Of course, because of it's always population, proximity, and poverty always are involved in that concept. So there was 5 points that the President Biden wanted to share as what he thinks would be part of the solution to address those issues. And one of the things he wanted to do was to address the rogue gun dealers, the people who are selling guns who should not be selling guns. This is an extremely important, essential tool towards finding a solution through the misuse or the rampant need for guns in the urban communities. Let's see what he got. Secondly, they're spending money on law enforcement, trying to increase the amount of police officers we have in our urban communities. I know that's going to be something that's like a big grab or a big sweet tooth, or that's something that raises people's eyebrows here in the state of New Jersey. New Jersey is known to have more police per square foot than any other state in the United States. So as police are looking, they're salivating, possibly getting a chance to get a little bit bigger bite of the apple, then so be it. That's what it is with law enforcement. Another one is trying to help individuals who have been previously arrested and freed now, and they're no longer convicted felons, and they want to put themselves back into the community and to be able to live a life outside of crime without the need to have crime or violence as part of an option in their tool chest. So there's going to be a lot of money into how to streamline people who are leaving jail into normal society. They can be given the tools necessary, help them with certifications, teaching lessons, training, so they can get good paying jobs. So that's a very good, helpful element of this infrastructure. Another one is summer programs, summer youth employment, and young adult employment. There's monies are going to be sent out in urban communities for more jobs for our youth and our young adults. It's extremely important. A lot of the issues that we have in our urban America is because it's poverty driven, and the issues that we have with poverty cause people to make sometimes desperate choices. So this will help out in a big way. I know in the small town that I live in, Lake City, people look forward to two things. The young people, young adults look forward to summer jobs, and then other people who are unemployed seem to look for the election cycle. It always, $100 check here, $150 check goes a long way when it comes to politics. Okay, and then lastly, trying to get my. So we have the gun dealers, the people selling guns illegally. More money for law enforcement. The summer programs for employment and people who were um, arrested, and also violence and crime intervention programs. They're going to support and fund more national programs to help with crime and violence intervention or prevention. So look forward to that. So in communities like ours, where we're basically yelling and crying out for some solutions, some sort of help, where we have grassroots programs that are done by the community to help the community. These national funds could help support giving the infrastructure needed so these brave young men and women, or men and women who are out there braving, going through the potential risk to try to save lives, give them some sort of support. So I really applaud Uncle Joe in doing what he's doing on a national standpoint with the infrastructure. Extremely important. The next thing I'm going to basically share is the IRS. There's a refunds that are supposed to be sent out for those who have been unemployed and been receiving unemployment insurance. Some of you have filled out your income tax forms for that, as was recommended before, and you will be given the refund. So 13 million Americans should be expecting the first payout mid-June. So, which is now mid-June. We're mid to late June. So as we go on the next couple of weeks, some of you may be having it in your bank accounts right now. So if you fall within that population who was unemployed duration of the year and filled out your income tax form as suggested that you do, check your account. However, if you did all that stuff and you're still waiting and still wondering, where's my refund? I think that's that national website that most people go to, will not have it there. You won't see any of that information available on that website. So you'll be frustrated on time and time again. So please don't go there. If you'd like to call the IRS directly, maybe they can assist you. Maybe you might get through, maybe you're not. I don't know. It depends. But if you know, like I know, just be patient. Do the best you can to be patient. Don't count on it. And then when it does come in, let it be bonus and do what you got to do to benefit you and your family the best way possible. Lastly, I wanted to give everyone a heads up. One thing that was being discussed right now, it's actually been looked at very deeply, is researchers and scientists are looking into the actuality that some people may have built immunity against COVID-19, SARS-CoV-19. When they have possibly been subjected to it already, their body just naturally went into defense mode, and the antibodies may have been created in the body, fought off the COVID-19 because it never took any kind of foundation, or they never put its grasps on your system, and it didn't affect you, and your body fought it and beat it, and it built antibodies. You may be permanently immune to COVID-19. Hurrah, hooray for you, whoever you are out there on the planet. I hope everyone gets the ability to do so moving forward. But there's more and more research being had to prove to say, yeah, there are people who are naturally immune to it. People have developed immunity in them, and they're also providing science and ability to able to mass duplicate some of these antibodies for those that, where it can help. So more and more people are becoming immune. More and more people have no worries for the future. But we'll see, because you never know. The way this COVID-19 seems to be so intelligent, morphing itself into various variants. You never know what the hell is going to happen. You might find out next month that COVID-19 actually becomes a walking, breathing cell with 2 feet with superhero powers flying around and COVID-19 killing people by choking them, whatever the situation is. Anything's possible in the world of science and in the world today. So just pay attention for it. And a heads up, just a little clarity for those who may not be aware of it. The Summer Olympics kicks off July 23rd. 23rd, July Olympics. Woo, Summer Olympics. All right. We get to see our girl, Sha'Carri, go up there and whoop some tail. There's so much discussion about track and field lately. I know I'm an avid supporter, fan of track and field, summer track and field, and a couple others during the Summer Olympics. I think that's my preference, the Summer Olympics. I love watching swimming, gymnastics. I love track and field, and some of the other odd sports. And I think surfing is part of the Olympic agenda this year. So that's going to be something. It's going to be something. I know breakdancing is supposed to be, if not this summer, it's part of next summer's Summer Olympics, which ought to be something too. But as we move forward, just pay attention, y'all. If you see supportive measures that you can do, whether it's just buying Pepsis or going to Pizza Hut to do this, your little contributions here and there go a long way to these athletes who don't get reimbursed for their level of dedication towards the Olympics. And keep this in mind. This is something that some folks may not be fully aware of, but some contestants, some athletes from all over the world, this is the only means that they have for income. Their countries pay them to be these brazen stars. Russia was known to have a full, I'd say, arcade of superhumans that they would pay and pay very well. They lived the king's life, royalty in their country because of the dedication they are to sports. And all they had to do was focus on their sports. So here in America, it's a little different. If people are paying attention, just recently, the NCAA was faced with a judgment for the athletes to suggest that anyone who plays a sport, and I think it was football specifically, but I think it's going to trickle over, and uses the image for their benefit, because a lot of the colleges get money to show the games on a national agenda. They sell tons of T-shirts, clothing, merchandise. The schools themselves make lots of money for, as they say, scholarships and what have you. So, but they make millions of dollars, and the athletes that go through so much with so very little have to suffer injury and what have you, basically getting free labor. So someone equated it to slavery. And it's sad to say, because so many people have made to feel that way. But this judgment basically said that no longer can colleges withhold from them getting the athletes getting some form of stipend, some sort of support system. So I say hooray for the athletes. Finally, they'll be able to get a cut from what they're worth. They're worth a whole lot more. Some of these brazen superstars, these guys working, these women who are playing these sports and excelling, being, superhuman-like on the national agenda, making these schools as good as they are. And they don't get anything in return but a T-shirt and the hope and a dream that they get into a professional league where they get millions sometimes. So the fact that they're going to get a little cut off the pie, bravo to you. I hope that more and more of sporting events becomes equitable to the athletes, because they're the ones that are going through all the loopholes and the pain and recovery and expectations, and they get nothing in return. So, but we're at the time right now. I'd like to say, what's up,
cousin? What's going on, B?
How are you, brother? How you?
How you living, man?
Hey, man. Every day, breath after breath.
That's right. One step at a time. Definition of life.
That's all it is. It is. So, how was your week, man?
Excellent, man. Hopefully yours was the same. Without every now and then you see some gang banging going on in your neighborhood.
Bro,
what is Atlantic City coming to, man?
You know what's sad to say? It's just that what's happening in Lang City is not just exclusively to Lang
Oh
City.
no, no, not at all.
Our issue is serious with ours, to us.
Yeah,
But it's we got to find some solutions. I know earlier today, some mothers wanted to come together in Lang City at the Oscar McClinton Park to discuss finding some solutions. So I applaud them because I've always been saying the true solution is going to come from the moms.
yeah,
Um, the kids, they have ideas, so on and so forth. Fathers, we may think that we have the solutions, but ultimately, I think the mothers always find the solution, and they're the problem solvers. We execute the solution, but they find the solution. So
yeah.
I'm hoping they came together, but they came together. And then there's other initiatives that are doing what they can to see what we can do. But ultimately, we're still burying these young men and women. Sad to say.
Like that old saying goes, when you think you have it bad, someone else has it worse.
Yes.
Just like what's going on in Florida. I mean, they were experiencing a lot of gun violence down there, one after the other, shootings and the whole nine yards. And then the freaking building just collapsed just a few days. What, yesterday?
Earlier this morning, I think it was 2 o'clock.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
The building collapsed yesterday. Yeah.
It was there's some scary ass stuff to think about. Just
What are you
stuff
telling?
boom falling, and
Yeah.
I keep having these same images of potholes and landfills and things like that. Florida, it's
Florida
like
is notorious for that.
Swiss cheese underground.
It is. It is. It's marshland big time.
Mm-hmm.
The flooding and the whole 9 yards weakened the soil. A lot of swampland down there that they're building on. They say a few years from now, Miami's going to be underwater because
Yo,
the flooding. Those buildings. That's a lot of weight.
the crazy truth is Miami is underwater now.
Yeah,
It's
it's going to
underwater
rain.
now. Vice News, I say about 2 years ago, talked about water mitigation all over and how the water, because of climate change, has increased so much. And they give in a perspective of different things. It's like New York. New York is fighting. Of course, Atlantic City, we're fighting water mitigation. But Miami, a large percentage of Miami, like Miami Beach, is underwater anyway.
Yeah.
You see 1 or 2 inches of water, and you're thinking it hasn't rained in days, but there's still water on the ground because they're below the water level. And the water levels are increasing, and the more it increases, the less land. So,
And remember, the weather pattern has a lot to do with it also because remember, Miami is a panhandle. We're on one side. You have everything coming up from the Bahamas and that area, and then you have the other stuff coming in from the Gulf.
yeah,
So you were like right in the middle.
like it just had that superstorm that just went and demolished the Gulf and came in the Mississippi River and made all kinds of mess. Imagine the water levels that went in there. So all this stuff, it's like the superstorm connection, with all the stuff colliding one another. It's a miracle that more and more things don't happen. That's sad. But it's scary. I was looking at pictures of how New Orleans is standing right now, and they didn't suffer as much, but they still. I think it's the post hurricane. What was the hurricane down in Miami? I mean in New Orleans. Gloria, I think it was. Katrina, yeah, Katrina.
Okay.
Post Katrina, they did a lot of water mitigation and what if happens again, and then they got reminders again. Remember when Houston got hit? There was so much water going to cover. So they're getting more and more reminders of what they need to do. So this time around, they were able to do a little bit more with the gullies and the way things have gone in the tributaries. So it wasn't as much damage. However, it's still some things you just can't prevent happening with where they lay.
Yeah, they praying, and out west they're praying for rain. They're praying for water. They're on their hands and bended knees out west.
I was just thinking, and if my stepfather, my father-in-law, I'm sorry, if my father-in-law comes on later, I'll ask him because they were talking about Sacramento. The water quality is so bad that it's shifting. It's a sour taste in water because of the shortages, and they've had to tap into like secondary tributaries and safeguards here and there. I watched a series on water mitigation and water issues, and they were talking about this super drought. And I wasn't paying attention that Nevada, the lake, the Hoover Dam, Lake Mead and the Hoover Dam.
The Hoover Dam,
Right?
The Hoover Dam, Lake Mead, and the Colorado River.
Right. Lake Mead. They showed pictures of it. They said it's like 20 feet lower than it's been.
Yeah.
in decades. And I'm
Correct.
like, damn, how much water? You know how it's hydroelectronics.
Mhm. Yeah,
You know,
that's over
water
there.
pressure. Right. So because of the supersized dam, they said they're only getting like 25% of the amount of electricity. The water itself, they're telling people they're gonna have to ration that. Most of Nevada, most of Southern California, most of all those regions that will get water, they'll be getting 25% less. Southern California and certain regions in Arizona that are farmlands won't be able to get water the way they did before. So they're told
Correct.
that they can only grow about 25%. So, 75% less water, 75% less of the food that was grown. It's scary. And, I haven't been to Vegas, and I'm assuming that you've been there a couple of times, but
Yeah.
you
Hmm.
imagine seeing the Bellagio without water? That big ass lake or
Well, that's not only casino. You know what I'm saying? Vegas is casino town. You know what I'm saying? It's,
and water.
as a matter of fact, they just opened up another one called Resorts World.
Okay.
So that's the new casino that just opened up. And then another one is opening up. I think it's already open. Circa. That's another casino that just opened up. So as we speak, they're still opening casinos.
Right.
And we haven't even exited this pandemic as of yet, but they're still building and they're still opening casinos.
Of course, that's the monster that always feeds itself.
So imagine all of those places and water.
Mhm.
All those places have to be facilitated with water one way or another.
All the restaurants that need the water, all the restrooms, all the water suppression and fire prevention
Yeah.
systems. Sure, that's huge.
Yeah, it's mega. It's mega on another level.
So when I saw the picture of Lake Mead is a huge,
Yeah.
giant size.
Yeah. That's where everybody tends to go party 4th of July, Labor Day, down at Lake Mead.
Yep.
Pull out the boats, the whole 9 yards. Yeah.
Now they're telling them you can't launch off of certain parts of Lake Mead because there's not enough water to launch. I'm like, yo, okay. They're gonna finally disturb the lives of these super wealthy individuals who live out in Nevada. Oh, poor as them. But what about the average people just live a normal life? They're gonna have no water. That's gonna be terrible, man. It's hard.
It is. It
And the
is.
fires,
Yeah.
fire prevention in Northern California. What? So now the discussion is now they have to re-enter that whole discussion about desalinization. The programs themselves are taking the salt out of the water. Is it worthy? I'm like, look, it ain't even a question whether it's worthy. It's necessary. It's necessary.
You won't miss it until it's gone. That's life,
Right, right. It's not like situations where you have to. I forget what it is. It's sodium. It's a metal that they shoot up in the sky to create the water clusters. I forget exactly the makeup. Huh? Sodium phosphate. Okay. You telling me? I don't know. That's my son on the side.
Yeah, it sounds like right.
Yeah, it's not. But whatever it is, they're gonna be shooting a whole lot of that shit trying to create some moisture where there is none. We're already talking about temperatures still peaking and staying at 110 degrees, 120 degrees. I was like, Death Valley must be disgusting. You look
Death Valley is just that by its name itself. What part of Death Valley don't you get?
you know what I'm saying? All of a sudden, you have the weather report, and all of a sudden, in Death Valley, you're just looking at you like
Death Valley. You don't get.
Death Valley's still dead.
Death Valley. And the thing about it with Vegas also, because they have a lot of solar panels out in the desert that actually supplies them with electricity.
That's
so electricity is one thing, but water is something totally different.
Yeah, but then the heat itself, because a lot of the electrical units and the infrastructure setup doesn't necessarily work with heat as much. Heat has a tendency. That's why you have brownouts, the brownout system so off. So I'm hoping that, I guess, as we go on, we learn about how we need to adapt to the atmosphere and new technologies. But I think there's opportunities to be able to use this stuff because solar technology is very good and it's moved. Really from being archaic to being now type technology. Yeah. The photosynthetic. The panels used to be like huge and super heavy. Now it's something you can roll out like paper and you place it anywhere.
Correct.
And batteries is the cadmium batteries now starting to change the different types of batteries. Speaking of that, did you know that Panasonic just sold their shares in Tesla? They had bought some $21 million in shares in Tesla a few years ago when Tesla was at $21.64. And then they sold their shares where every share is $658.95. it ran out because I was like, Panasonic? I was like, yeah, it made sense. Panasonic had investment shares, and now they made billions of dollars in profits for all their investors. Good for you, Panasonic. Good for you.
Yeah, you got to know when to hold them and when to fold them.
Boy, did they.
Yeah, that's the name of the game there. I was looking at something with that Bitcoin, because it doesn't seem like Bitcoin's doing all that great, but that dog coin, it seems like they're doing better than Bitcoin now.
Wow. Right now, there's a lot of juggling going on with cryptocurrency.
Yeah,
There's
it is.
a lot more discussion, and I think it has a lot to do with just the recent the occurrences of different people going on and ransomware and companies like that. Like, they're really getting into it. And oddly enough, you notice how the owner and creator of the virus protection agents, what was his name? It was the largest McAfee. Is it McAfee? No, not
Yeah.
McAfee.
Yes, McAfee, correct. He died.
He just all of a sudden, fairly young guy, fairly healthy person,
Yeah.
just died.
But he was wanted. He was a wanted man. He hung out overseas. He got his money and got out of the States.
Ain't that a
And
trip?
all of a sudden he died. Yeah.
The biggest crook to make their money against anti-stuff, just ends up dying all of a sudden. He's somewhere else with Jeffrey Epstein, somewhere else chilling. That's what they are.
They always take the money and bounce, man. I'm telling you.
I don't trust none of these.
Yeah, he was McAfee. I think his name was Jim McAfee or something like that. Yeah, McAfee. Just up in the videos.
I found it real odd. Like I said, I was like, isn't that a trip? All of a sudden, all the stuff that transpired, safety mechanisms, all of a sudden, ransomware coming out. They all want to say it's Russian. You're finding out half of the time it's some people in the Mideast are involved in that stuff, or you're routing it through Africa. There's a bunch of crooks. When there's a way to make money, people will find a way to get it from you.
Well, the cyber world is a whole new world, man. I'm telling you.
Hell yeah.
Everything cyber these days, they can rob your bank account. I was right before I logged on. I posted earlier this week about the one elderly lady that went to the ATM for $20 or whatever, and come to find out she had about almost $1 billion in her bank account.
Shit. You imagine you finding $1 billion in your bank account.
Made that mistake.
How many machines? You know how there's limitations on the ATM machines now.
You start thinking. You know what I'm saying? Should I borrow $100,000 just for now? You didn't want to give me that loan before, but I'm holding almost $1 billion of your dollars. Do I take that loan out now or what?
Imagine it, imagine just you trying to take it out as soon as possible because you know that's the mistake. Like, damn, how many Wawas do I have to go to get out? A couple $1 million.
You know what I'm saying?
Crazy. Ain't enough purchase in any supermarket to get that shit out. That's crazy.
Yeah, she had $10,000 in her bank account, and then when she went to take out $20, she saw that she had almost $1 billion. So she called up Chase to say, hey, I have more money in my bank account than I had anticipated. And then the following day, it was gone.
Yeah. But did you see also, because I think we were talking about something similar to that weeks before. And just recently, I saw a situation, I don't know if it was Reddit or something else I read, about a case where a bank made a mistake and then had this deposit in this person's account.
Yeah, this lady, I posted that one, And
they found it, and then they went prosecuted her.
Exactly, that's what I was talking about before this one. Yeah,
innocent, all this stuff all the way around. I was like, that's foul as hell. They get you, but I guess when you don't master the system's gonna master you one way or the other. You know what I mean?
Game recognizes game. That's all it is. Game recognizes game. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's like, okay, I have about $5 million in my bank account. All of a sudden, and you made a mistake. It's your bad. You put it into my account.
How many Americans
bought a car? She went and bought a house.
How many people do you actually think is going to say, "Oh shit, I got to let them know that's not my money. I'm not going to let them. I have to let them know that they have someone else's money in my account." Oh my God!
It happened to me before many years ago. I checked my bank account, and I come to find out that I had like $5,000 inside of there. It just showed up.
Okay.
And the following day, that $5,000 was gone.
Shit, I find $1, I'm happy. I'm like, for years, I kept budgeting like crazy, making sure for the last dime I knew what it was going, expenses, any fees. And I'm good at it. I'm able to manage my money, budget very well on it in the whole nine. So any kind of deviation from it, immediately I'm calling like, hold up, what's this from? What's that? And I will find it, even situations where there's been an account. I remember one time it was a fee that popped up, and it was like $2.50 or whatever. But it caused an issue because of the way I'm budgeting and keeping my money together. And it was some fee that did not take place for like 4 months. And I was like, hold up. That was your fault that you didn't get the fee. Now you have to take it out because you mismanaged. I wasn't the one mismanaging. I asked you before and look in your accounts. I told you I said about this stuff and you said it was okay. So you can't charge me for it now because you said it was okay. So after some discussion about it, they took the fee out, but it's because you pay attention to it. But I could only imagine going to your account and seeing 6 more zeros behind the numbers, not in front of it.
Hey, hallelujah, Jesus! I've just hit it and didn't even know it.
Yeah, exactly. Man, you work in an entry-level job. You may be making lucky $12 an hour. You get paid. You got $398 to look at. Clean after taxes. All of a sudden, that $398 turns to $3,980,000. You can be like, "Oh shit, that's a good job." Wow, hell of a raise.
Why didn't I do this sooner?
Shit, can I work some overtime? But I can only imagine that. But that right there, electric banking, that's a big system. I mean, and now people will start looking at different banking sources because there's still people asking, do we have any black-owned banks? And I'm like, how many months and months are we talking about Greenwood Bank and all the what's that?
I posted a large number of them online.
And we're saying the same thing. There's a lot more banks. And luckily, because you're not seeing or hearing about them, it just means that they're regulated, managing properly. Correct. They're doing exactly as they need to, investing in the communities, being loan vessels, or vessels of loans, small business loans in the communities. Great, man. So if you get a chance to go over to the website, let me put it up so everybody can go to our website, and then you can see that there, because the information is there available if anyone's looking to invest or put in their money into black banks. It's extremely important that our community.
I found a crap load of black banks all over the place. Some in Philadelphia and stuff.
Yeah. And there's a lot of them. I mean, we have trusts, we have savings and loans, we have investment groups, and we have traditional banks. So there, and we have to, as long as we empower them by investing our money in them, they continue to exist, and it helps to develop wealth in communities that we have. So, it's their agenda. So they have to support you. As long as you see the firemen's union or the policemen's union, they'll have their federal credit unions. Every specific interest group has their credit union. So, these banks are somewhat working in the same scope as being a credit union for our community. So we got to invest our dollars.
I see New Jersey was working on, right now they're working on 2022 budget. And New Jersey currently has $46.4 million sitting on. They're like, we have a serious surplus. Murphy and all them boys are happy as hell. They're like, what can we do? Where can we spend this money? $46.4 million.
Let me tell you, man, I say the same thing. That came from here. That came from Lang City.
They're happy as freaking, a cow and crap,
That money came from us in the Lang City. They've given us the bill. We've had to pay for it, so they don't have to pay for it. So it sits in their bank as a surplus.
They're happy as hell because the conservatorship that with Atlantic City, when it took over Atlantic City, they're happy. They're happy. They're like, wow, we have a serious surplus. Maybe we ought to make this thing last a little longer, taking over AC.
Yeah.
$46.4 million.
And then that's going to be a verbal comparison. See how we manage our budget? Can't you do like we do? Well, if we shat on people that were underneath us and we stole their money and took their money and give them our debt, then maybe we'd stand somewhat clean just like you do. But
no, it goes back to what I've always said. With the Democratic Party, they always seem to put people, you don't see any minorities, as governors. You see them as mayors, you see them, everything underneath. But the real power lies in the governorship. I've always preached that. And with the governorship, that's exactly what happened. Imagine if someone, of a minority status was a governor instead of Murphy or whatever the case may be. Some of that money would have been still trickling down, helping Atlantic City out, hopefully.
Right.
But like I said, the governorship is where it's at because they run the freaking state. And the president, those guys can't tell them what to do because right now, Georgia is being sued by the federal government because of that voter law.
The OJ is about to come in there. Yep.
Exactly.
I saw the newscast a little early when Department of Justice had notified that they're going to take it to the Supreme Court, which is a just thing. You know, it's sad that it's it's a comforting thing that the justice system is there available, so people can use that mechanism to correct issues that went wrong. But it's sad that we have to go to that. It's not like common sense.
But think about it. They're going to sue them and they're going to go before the Supreme Court. Okay, and Trump loaded up that Supreme Court with all of his people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that guy down in Georgia, he's one of Trump's boys.
The only thing is, did you see recently the scope of? There's a couple cases that were suggested to be critically conservative. You know, like Republicans are pushing, and they lost in the Supreme Court with the majority of those conservative justices voting against something like this recently. And I was like, that was breaking the norm. So it sort of gave me a breath of fresh air to believe that these individuals who are in there are supposed to, interpret the law in an unbiased way. We're actually doing it. It wasn't just like a situation where it was widespread. The only person that still continues to be disappointing is Justice, what's my man's name?
Clarence Thomas.
Yep, Clarence Thomas. He's
still from that Bush era, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, he's still riding that horse the way he was told to ride it. It's a shame. Yeah. But it is what it is. I love to see justice done properly and giving it out. When I saw that, I said, "Wow, that's a breath of fresh air."
Yeah, you to the Obamacare, also known as
that was the case. Yep,
correct.
That was the case. Yep, because they were attacking certain elements, saying that.
Yeah, they were trying to tear it apart.
Mm-hmm. But I'm really happy about that because there were so many people depending on the Affordable Care Act. Some people want to call it Biden and all that stuff. There was attach a name to it to make it villainize it. I'm like, it's still the Affordable Care Act, regardless of what. So I'm really happy that there was, because there's so many people who are impoverished even now because of the pandemic. They can't afford it. Insurance, what have you. So this gives opportunity for everyone to have some sort of medical coverage. Even
the Trump care never happened. Mm-hmm. The Trump care program never happened. I mean, he's back in Florida and stuff, and he's like, "Oh yeah, we're going to get a Trump care." And his Rudy the Rat is running around. He just lost his license.
I was going to say that's what Trump care means. Come with us with Trump care. We'll make sure that you'll never work again.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But not only that you'll never work again, we're never going to pay you. Because Rudy the Rat, he's still running around, and Trump still hasn't paid him. And now that they took away his lower license, he ain't never going to get paid by Trump because he's going to say, "You screwed up my case because you was lying. And that's why they took away your license. So why even bother to pay you now?"
That's hilarious.
Just give Trump an excuse not to pay Rudy the Rat.
It's hilarious how that transpired. It's a shame because, in so many cases and people in politics, a lot of them have their law degrees, and you're really not aware of the degree of education a lot of these people are. And most of them are lawyers, man. It's a shame because, they know how to manipulate the law because they know the law. So, and they're doing what they do, they benefit from it, and then they end up being elected in a position.
Sometimes, because I was watching a case last night of this one guy that actually attempted to, a very high-powered lawyer from Capitol Hill, in Washington, the inner circle, the whole 9 yards. And a lot of lawyers are afraid to go up against this guy, but he tried to murder his freaking wife. He tried to murder. He beat his wife senseless with a flashlight.
Well, just because you're a lawyer or elected official or anything doesn't mean you're not human. You see, time and time again, they make bad choices.
Last time I checked, he's doing 20 years.
Mm-hmm. At least.
so they said by the time he get out, he'll be in his 80s. And not to mention, he says, as a matter of fact, he wanted to defend himself. He fired his lawyers. He said, "I'll defend myself. I can do a better job." But when it came up to the civil action, he never showed up. So his wife ended up getting $28 million on his head because he never showed up. Yeah, that's heavy. Then turned around and he lost the criminal also. So he's doing 20 years on that, and she got paid in spades. And he's a high-powered lawyer from Washington. Yeah,
just goes to show you. High-powered lawyers fuck up too.
Simply put.
Yeah, that's all. But we're going to see it because there's a lot of discussion. There's a person that I considered, I guess, a cool guy. His name is Sid Wilson. He lives he's from New Jersey. He does a lot of work in advocacy for diversity. He was a president of the National Diversity Board, I think that was called. Forgive me, Sid, if I get the names wrong, but he was highfalutin. He's still highfalutin. Anytime he's sitting with Barack Obama, and they know each other first name basis type there, he's a high level dude.
Yeah, you got it.
He just moved back to Jersey. I was like, Governor Sid Wilson sounds really good. Whispered that in his ear because I'm like, yo, he's a high level kind of guy, and the fact that he's Dominican, an African Dominican, a black Dominican who has a national agenda the way he has, it would be an asset. It would be something.
I haven't run over that guy as of yet, so I have to look into his background and see what's going on. I have to do my homework. I have to do my just diligence.
I was just whispering that because I know he shares the same birthday as me, so we celebrate the same way. And he went to Ohio State, a Buckeye. He's a proud Buckeye. Ain't gonna hold it against him, but it's all good.
It is what it is.
Exactly, and a mama's boy, proud mama's boy. So he spent a lot of time in Puerto Rico. I was like, see what I'm saying? You're Dominican, but you love Puerto Rico. That's love right there, bro. That's love. But that's just somebody we were just talking. Were you paying attention to the New York election?
I'm checking that out here and there, bits and pieces.
Did you see how low Andrew Yang numbers was? I was like so disappointed. I thought he was going to blow it up. I'm like, Yang was at what, 11% total?
Well, not everybody is on board the Yin Yang Gang, okay?
I thought because
not everybody's on board the Yin Yang Gang,
But this guy, what's his name? Edwards, the one, the African American one, got 32%. I'm like, yo, that's a really low level, but you know what? Still, 32% of a couple million people.
Yeah.
Shit, he did a good job. I don't know what he's about. I don't know what he is.
I saw him online with WBLS. I believe he was like in law enforcement before.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah. He has a pretty good track record. Some of those guys on the radio, endorses him. So
yeah. So I'm hoping.
Yeah.
It'd be good to see. Like, even though I didn't see so much of the issue with de Blasio, but he just made himself even more of a target. Every time he turned around, he just became a target. I'm like, man, de Blasio being married to a black woman, having children that he understood and honored as black.
He played the color code and he won. He hit the jackpot with the color code.
Yeah, he fucked the system, broke the system. He
may have adopted that family, and after he loses the election, he's like, okay, I want my money back. I'm expecting a refund.
That's foul. I don't know if that's true, but that would be foul.
I'm expecting a refund somehow.
I wouldn't put past politics on a national agenda, man. But that's funny. That's funny. But
politics is a dirty sport. I always say that, Mo. It's a dirty freaking sport. I don't care how you cut it, how you slice it and dice it. Right. It's a dirty sport. It's no different from like watching a basketball game, how they're hacking each other like crazy.
It's horrendous. It's dirty and dirtier the more you go on, and you see this national elections. The whole process itself is about choosing and selection who you thinking the best candidate to fill that position would be. But more and more as you see elections, it's always the slander that fills the airways, the slander that goes back and forth. It's the slander, and it's always checking to see what this way, and it's always people's opinion. So it's just.
But with the digital media and the way things are these days, it stays in infamy because you have the internet. It's going to last forever. When people slander your name, it's not going to go away overnight. Somebody could Google your name 20 years from now, and it's going to show back up.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing about it. Because it stays there, and it will surpass your lifespan.
And it'll remind you, Facebook will remind you every year on the year. Remember what happened on this day?
Yeah, I noticed that. I can't even remember.
And if you look at it, it'll show you a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and it's like,
exactly. Like you really want to remember 3 years ago, whatever happened.
If you have a chain of bad habits and it's yearly and it's an annual thing, you're going to get reminded by Facebook how much of a you are on a yearly basis. So that's crazy. But you're going to see a lot of this stuff, and it's sad. But let me sing a shout out to Renee. Renee, hopefully everybody's well in the family. We wish you well. Welcome on back onto the chat room. My co-director, co-executive in the chat is not available. She has to work tonight, so she won't be back and forth. She might tap in. She said, talk to you guys later. But she might tie it in. She can't help it. She's going to be curious to see the conversation. You might see her tap in once or twice. So if you do, Big shout out to my wifey. Enjoy the evening. Hopefully you're safe. But her mom's on the other side too. Mom, Nick. Nick, what's up? Hopefully you're good. But I see my nephew, Big KK. What's up? I hope you're well. I'm gonna need you soon. All right, Neff. So I'm gonna keep you up with things. You know how talking about elections. I'm gonna need you soon. You know how we roll. All right. So back to what we were talking about before. I'm paying attention to New York because it's one of those odd elections. You know, because the date of the election doesn't align with no one else. It was creeping real low, so it bring attention. I saw the other candidate, the female, I think her last name is Wiley. She's a regular contributor to MSNBC. So I don't know to what degree. Okay, I got you. My nephew's saying all I got to do is call. I said, yeah, I got you, Neff. Okay. But I was trying to pay attention to the interaction. You know, the temperature of the climate in politics. You can always tell by how the discussions are, because now with all the different movements, social awareness, the dilemmas dealing with Black Lives Matter, the issues with race, Asians, Asian Americans, all that stuff plays a role in politics. So I was trying to see how it rolls, and it just showed some of the overwhelmed politics in New York is definitely unique to them. So I don't know. I don't know if de Blasio messed it up by coming really hard on sports on some of the other teams, because he was dissing people. I mean, like dissing entire cities. I was like, wow, that's some bold stuff to do for an elected official or mayor, even though he's a mayor.
He gets a little brazen every now and then, you know.
Crazy. I mean, he's a human being, you know what I mean? But it's just, you have to understand that you represent. You should be.
When you're a politician, remember, Mo, you have to season your words. That's what it's all about. Mm-hmm. Think before you talk. Season your words.
Yeah.
Because you don't know who you're going to offend. You know, you just can't have one of those attitudes like, I'm going to offend any damn body. I don't care because I'll fight it off. Eventually, they're going to get something on you and they're going to feel the same way. Yeah. Because what goes around comes around.
Absolutely. I mean, the truth of the matter is that you can't make everyone happy all the time, but Correct. You just have to be very knowledgeable of what you represent. You know,
Correct. Be conscious of what's happening. Yeah.
Yeah. I was told early on, pay attention to who your audience is and who you're trying to customize your message to speaks about what's important to you. So if you're trying to make it widespread, so everyone's important. So make it friendly enough that everyone pays attention to it and gets the information without being offended or excluded. It's really important. But some of these people are just crazy. I was just thinking about the guy in New York that ran a couple years ago. I think it was Conover, African-American brother who with the white hair, with the white beard, talking about rent's too damn high. I was like, yo, he's an inspiration to a national agenda. My man got his gloves on. He didn't care. He's like, rent's too damn high. I said, that's absolutely the truth.
Yeah, it is. It is. But remember, Manhattan is an island. You know what I'm saying? It's an island.
And that's
remember that. And the islands have limited space. That's the reason why they build going up rather than going out.
You know what's really, really crazy is the system in New York. They've had to create new systems and ecosystems for them to be able to manage, because not everyone gets paid over $50,000 a year to be able to pay a one-bedroom apartment. They don't. You have people just living off of the minimum wage that you can get $12, $13 an hour, and they're living there. And you have different boroughs that have different economic statuses. Mm-hmm. And you have the things that you have sublets. You're going and. It bugged me out how someone basically just said it to you. It says, imagine you own a property. You rent it out to your cousin, who rents it to another cousin, who rents it out to another cousin, and they rent it out to two cousins. They rent it out to a company and rent it out to. He said, that's the process of subletting. It gets so expensive to the beginning and all the subsidies that go at different levels that everyone gets a share of it. And it makes it available at the very end for a person who can't afford the original to be able to live there. Subletting is crazy. And to the degree, it's like 6-7 layers of subletting available in certain districts, certain boroughs. I couldn't imagine that shit. That would be a huge headache.
What do you think the Hasidic Jews was doing in New York?
So they were getting it in.
They were doing that on such a major level, it caught the attention of the federal government.
Yeah.
And they decide to, because a lot of them were, applying for food stamps and all of these different things and subletting and splitting the apartment, the whole 9 yards. And the feds have to move in on those guys.
Yeah. That's absolutely true. My nephew said there's no help for people that work, no assistance. That's really, really hard. That's very true. When you fall in, when you make too much money for a program, you don't make enough to be able to survive on yourself. It's a dangling truth. We have a big gaping hole in New Jersey. I'm falling in that hole too. Me and my wife makes too much money to fit any of the programs, the subsidies, or help, or any kind of first home ownership programs.
Mm-hmm.
We don't make enough money to be able to do it on ourselves. So we rent. Excuse me.
There's a huge disparity going on there.
Mm-hmm. It's the truth, but that subletting process in New York is something crazy.
Yeah,
and I think
notorious for that, man.
Oh my God. I didn't know, and you know what? I think it brought my attention when the Broadway show Rent.
Yeah.
That brought my attention. Was just asking questions. I'm like, wow, somebody subletting to that degree, and having companies to be able to sublet. I guess it's the same concept with the timeshare process. Some people sell timeshares to timeshare companies that rent it out and they make money. There's so much money funneled out in such a wrong way, dealing around people living, being able to have shelter. That's crazy. Crazy. But I remember the big scandal that happened in Brooklyn in a Jewish community where it was a big housing scam.
Yeah. The feds movement. But not only there, up in the Towns River area also, major Hasidic Jews up there.
Oh yeah,
they've learned how to game the system.
Shit, Lakewood, New Jersey.
Exactly. Lakewood, notorious.
90% Jewish community.
Yeah,
it was a big complaint. A lot of complaints going on to that community during pandemics because they were having like huge weddings, public, and big giant affairs, and no one was pressing up on them and the health risks that they were promoting within their culture and the city and anything else coming around. It's crazy, but it just goes to show you some communities in America are so insulated that they function. I guess at times they think they're beyond the restrictions of the national government. They're beyond their own restrictions because of their religious freedoms.
Well, they create their own inner circle, and that's how they thrive within their own inner circle.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very hard to penetrate that circle.
Yeah. That they've done fairly well for themselves, and that's fine. I'm not hating on it whatsoever. A lot of us could learn from that type of community reinvestment. Imagine if African Americans, Latinos, we did the same. If we invested more in one another, where we could be, as a community or as communities in America, where could we be? So I'm not knocking it. I'm happy that people benefit. It's just when things are done in an unfair way, like that big scandal that took place where you had scams that were taking place, and it was like, I want to say 4 or 5 Hasidic Jews were arrested in this big scams. I was like, it just, when I see people who are secularly motivated, they live their life based on their religion. I have a tendency of believing that they're not going to do wrong. They're not going to do anything illegal. They're going to choose to live a very righteous lifestyle. But you've seen it too often in many religions, not just the Jewish religion or the Hasidics, but I've seen Muslims, I've seen Christians, I've seen a lot of Christians, people who are supposed to be secularly living, motivated by religion, supposed to be disciplined. Boy, behind closed doors, it shows that every human's weak. There's a weakness everyone lives by. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So I know their Justice Department's interest fight for democracy. This is going to be the biggest discussion when it comes to Justice Department against Georgia. More and more discussion is being had because not only Georgia, I think it was Texas, Arizona, and Pennsylvania were looking at the same fight. And those are the states that are known to be conservative leaning, and or as they say, I forget the term that they use when they talk about they fight is consistent. Anyway, those are really conservative states. Just recently, I saw there was a video discussed where an African American man, a young politician, recently elected to the Pennsylvania Assembly, and he came out and fought and talked about the agenda that they tried to move against voters' rights, and he called it just utterly disgusting. And he was irate about stuff, but it was a champion for the people. So I applaud him. I can't remember his name right now, but I remember watching the video, and I was really proud that he was able to speak the way he was in defense of democracy, in defense of or attacking the bill that was being proposed. He said it was like 300 pages of malarkey, a lot of racism, a lot of bigotry, a lot of systemic entitlements being provided for. It's a shame, but we see it all the time, man. We see it all the time. So, what's your week like, man? How's it been?
Hey, just staying busy, my friend. You know, just staying, just like everybody else. If you got to survive.
Yeah.
What about you, man?
Well,
are you mapping everything out? Because you should be in preparation mode right about now. Because
everything's slow.
A few more months down the pike, we already know what's going to happen here.
Yeah, it's a slow crawl. The idea is not so. Speaking about campaigns, it's always been a stereotypical thing. You only see most of the campaign this way. I've always tried to live my life in a more organic setting. My past should speak for who I am. My past should speak what it is. It's just something once in a while you need a reminder here and there. Moving forward, I'm not going to flood people's lives with propaganda per se, but I want them to feel comfortable in the human being that I am and the motivations that I have behind me and the messages I like to carry and how I want to be a conduit for proper change, good change in the community, and to continue to fight for the things that have been put in place that have yet to reach full fulfillment, to keep fighting for those things.
You've been on city council for a while, so you know about policy and how things actually roll. So it's just a matter of you taking the next step. That's all it really is.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with an elderly woman that I revere, and she was like, you ready? I was like, shit, I've been fighting the devil for so long, so much going back and forth and contesting things that are not logical, some things that are considerably immoral, and things that just brought to the table just really idiotic that I thought. And because the system always seems to be about numbers and not about morality and legality and stuff like that. So I've been fighting the fight for forever. So this fight is no different. The only difference is it'll just be me versus me against 9 other people. The system's just a little different. It's the same fight. It's just a little different.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, just recently we had a press release that talked about my colleague and I. It was her idea to go out there because she was really frustrated one night, and she said, "We got to do it." So I said, "Yeah, let's go." And we bounced ideas off one another, what we need to do, and we both have the same feeling. If we can get the state police to come down and surveil the areas they're supposed to be responsible for, which is the boardwalk and the tourism district, it alleviates the stress on our normal police department to come out of those areas and come back into the communities. Mm-hmm. And they can participate more, whether it's recreational initiatives to prevent crime and just the relationships that have been diminished throughout the years can be replanted.
It makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. I'm thinking about it the more you talk about it. Yeah. And it makes a lot of sense because if, they patrol the district, because let's face it, the state took over. So if the state took over, this should take over everything. If, why would it just leave the police department to you guys and say, you handle this, but we're going to keep the state boys over there by the marina? Logically, it's like, okay, we're going to take the money and everything from the community here, but then we're just going to leave you with the issues.
Yeah. But, the community is fearful that having police come in is just going to have like a foreign entity come in and they're going to bully our community. It's like, no, that's not what we want. We don't want them at all to come down here and treat us and disrespect us in the wrong way. No, we want them to manage the area that they've legislatively taken from us.
Correct.
And if you're took from us and you keep taking from us by the tax dollars that you keep siphoning out of that district, then you should be able to manage that district as you need to. If such a demand is for protection and appearance-wise in that area, you should be responsible for it. Why we take care of what we can in the city that separates the other part of the city that you separated. Having our community policing initiative could be stronger, and then that could give some sense of relief to some people who don't think that they see police officers on a regular basis.
Oh, they did it in Camden. They did it in Camden many years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when Camden was infested, with nothing but crime, they moved in and they actually took over a lot of the stuff going on in Camden, New Jersey.
Yeah,
I remember that very clearly.
Yeah, and they made in Camden, they made a whole county type police department. And if you ask some, there's a lot of positive points, but you ask a lot, and there'll be some negativity. So change is difficult for large communities or communities. There's changes, and there's always the suspicions of people's personal agendas and their hatred coming out to the surface, and that these are true realities that we have to be considerate of. But the division that was created because of legislation, Renee just touched on it, the division of the city being permanent or not, it just legislated to create the tourism district. It's nothing that cannot be reverted. It's nothing that can't be reversed or fought. It's nothing that can't be done. Or maybe logically, the state representatives may one time finally say it's wrong to create these two cities in one city, and let's diminish this bill and let's make Lang City intact, make it one city again, and be helpful in the ongoing development and growth of the city. Be helpful and be a partner, but don't seize it for your own gain and your own bank, as if you've done. Giving little scraps on the table to be used with people who are just greedy, when everyone has a fair chance to eating wealthy or eating well at the table. If you just identify it. There's $40 million that the state has in escrow, and they're in essence sitting on $40 million that possibly, and I can probably
$6.4 million surplus, my friend. And I don't see any of that money heading back to Atlantic City, because I saw what they're playing with the budget.
And I have a firm belief that came from us. If it isn't the parking money, isn't the luxury tax money, the room money, that right there, I think is at that level. If not, that's a percentage of the total money they get from us.
That's a large grip right there by itself.
Yeah,
they're talking about funding everything other than where the money should go, because not even New Jersey Transit. New Jersey Transit is actually fighting the state to try to get some money to be invested in the infrastructure. But you have to remember, Biden is trying to pass this infrastructure bill, whereas New Jersey Transit and a lot of these, rails and buses, they're going to get a substantial amount of money if they could ever get that bill passed.
Well, I love the concept as far as the infrastructure, because I think it's past due. The infrastructure bill was something that we need to. It touches up. It just has a brief touch on the necessities that we need as far as the infrastructure and travel, some of the infrastructures on energy and stuff like that. All that's barely touched here and there. The component about violence in the infrastructure, it's helpful. I don't know how one fits in the other, but it's helpful. But I know the one thing that is certain is that we're so in dire need of these things that the minute they become available to the states, I've seen it too often. The states get greedy, and all of a sudden they pull in districts just to make certain things. You'll have highly powerful communities that are highly dense in population, and they voting block, and they're entitled, and you can go to the areas, and there's no need for streets because the streets are well taken care of. There's no replenishment of lighting fixtures because all of them are high tech, and they're just adding another level of accoutrements to their cities. Nothing that's necessary, where you have areas that are more impoverished, where you see potholes that have been in there for decades and never been treated.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But the way politics are, they will funnel that money there. So they'd rather have an excess than share it to the communities that are in dire straits and dire need of it. So it's politics. I've said this at the press conference the other day. Politics is the devil, man. And it takes a lot of effort to fight the devil and fight what they do, working with the devil, to do the right for the people. It takes a lot of work, a lot of effort, and sometimes it's so depleting.
Exhausting. It's exhausting as hell.
It's depleting, man. And I was saying this before, when you're in a situation where you think everyone's on the same page for one thing, when politics come out, you see clearly that we're not, and then brothers become enemies, and people who are just in it for the financial gain, for economic gain, will go all out, draw blood and everything, because they're so desperate and so conniving that they're willing to draw blood because they want to get that money. And it's sad because that's what it is. And I told my wife, I said, it's sad because in our community, our value system was broken. When we value one another, put more value in the dollar, then we're broken. We have no value in ourselves. And that's why we get treated like cheap ass prostitutes. We don't put value in the system and value in one another and value in the essence of what our community is comprised of. And when we do that, we're sold out as cheap prostitutes. And too often the city is treated like that. And too many cities across the nation are treated like that. And, the national agenda says the same thing. Oh, well, you got democratic cities run by democratic mayors and this way and that way. And it's like you're full of shit if you're talking about that from that scale.
See, that's the thing, Mo. When you look at, like you were just mentioning, a lot of the democratic cities, but then you look at the governors. The governors are all Republican governors, each and every single freaking one of them. The majority of them are all freaking Republicans.
Yep.
So they control the entire damn state any way you cut it.
Yep. Yep. So it's just about pointing fingers. Again, that's the political thing, pointing fingers.
Yeah.
And I had the conversation a little earlier with my wife about that. It seems like it's always the biggest crybabies are the ones that have tapped and drained the system for the most. With the smallest effort, the biggest crybabies, the ones that are crying continuously, injustice, are the ones in the background utilizing the process of injustice for their own possible gain. They're crying about this and that. If we did less crying and working together, really, really working together, more of us would have a chance to eat.
See, more. Working together requires a plan.
Yep.
That's it right there, and that's where a lot of people go off base. And only the richest people, I come to find out, is the one that cry broke.
Mm-hmm.
The richest and the wealthy people are the ones who always cry broke.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If you say, okay, let's do a corporate tax. A lot of these corporations, like, we can't afford it. We won't have to take our labor elsewhere. But they're Fortune 500 companies.
That would be a threat.
The perfect example. They're Fortune 500 companies, but they actually the one that actually crying. We can't afford to do any tax cut and don't bill us. And then the Republicans are like, no, we can't hurt these guys, even though they're rich as hell, but we can't hurt them.
It's crazy how that seems to be. You have companies like, say, a Walmart. Walmart comes in, they hire so many people, right? So it becomes a staple in the community of being a resource for people in the economy. So when they start finagling and making things a little difficult for the district, then the politicians in that area says, damn, we can't turn on Walmart because you're targeting so many families that they're benefiting. They're getting salaries to do so. And then they turn around and they know this. Corporate America is very clever with how they work.
But not only that, Mo, when the politicians want to run for office, they need money. Where do you think they go first? To some of these companies and ask for money. I know, because I remember many years ago, I was heading up to New York and I was flipping the radio station. And ironically enough, Donald Trump was in his towers in New York. And Mitt Romney came through the back door, took the elevator upstairs to go meet with Donald Trump because he needed money to run for office.
Hell yeah.
That's the stuff right there.
Yep. And it's sad. And I was touching up a little bit earlier. In towns like mine, elections are part of the economic system, the ecosystem when it comes to economy. When you have such a large community that might be economically depressed, the little injection of $150, $100 for a day's work goes a long way, and then the potential wants and needs, because people sometimes work on elections because they're hoping that they can get a chance to get their foot in the door of getting a job that gives them benefits that they don't have, that their family needs, a job that potentially gives them some form of stability that it's not readily available in the area. So a lot of folks don't pay attention to those. That's the truth in politics and economy. So it's part of the ecosystem. So you need to raise money sometimes to be able to feed that ecosystem, because that ecosystem feeds into the city in general. So, it's not that T-shirts and flyers make voters vote. It's a lot of times it's the potential and how that dollar goes into the community helps to influence people to vote. And that's the truth.
But at the same token, you remember many years ago, there were unions.
Yeah.
Unions were paying, suitable wages, living wages. And the first thing Reagan wanted to do was to do a little bit of union busting, break
Yeah.
all of that stuff up. Then now all you have is retail outlets. That's all you have right now.
Yeah. I
You
have.
know, ironically enough, Ross Perot. Do you remember that guy?
Oh my God, I know. The worm.
Ross Perot, exactly.
Super
And
wealthy.
he called it way back when. He says, you get rid of all the unions, you're going to end up with nothing but a bunch of retail shops. And that's
Yeah.
what you have.
It's a shame because Atlantic City has the history of Atlantic City weighs a lot with unions, and union busting. The history of union busting. Even in the situation right now, we have a hotel that's done fairly well. It seems to be done fairly well, which is Showboat. That's not unionized. I don't know of any union that has already built a relationship with the owners of Showboat, and they're continuing, and it has an impact. I'm not totally certain if they do. I hope that there is some relationship with the unions because I think I know unions are necessary. Man, it's helpful because it helps to protect the average person. Just all they want to do is go and work, make a living, and being able to have that kind of support so they can do that. It's human beings, man, because all human beings, and I think sometimes in some cases, you tell me your opinion about this, but I think sometimes people forget when it comes to business and companies that we forget that it's humans that run it. And humans sometimes have a bad day, and sometimes humans are fucked up, and they make bad choices based on their personal opinions and their personal agendas, and they bring whatever their personal things into work. And one thing shouldn't have to do with the other, and sometimes it happens. And so unions are a cradle to help support, so you can alleviate from that, or the miscommunication, or just the area, and just to ensure certain systems that are supposed to be um, safety nets are there for the right reasons and not just there, just written on paper.
Correct. It has to be a form of checks and balances.
Yeah.
That's what you're pretty much looking at.
Yep.
And like it says, some unions take advantage of its members, some unions don't. So
Yeah.
it's a matter of checks and balances. Some companies take care of their employees, a lot of companies don't. Checks and balances. So you still need that checks and balances any way you cut it.
Absolutely. Like I know locally here, I'm going to speak about just a few points that I know that are shining stars to me when it comes to unions. When Local 54 stepped up during this pandemic and utilized whatever resources were available to ensure that their members had food, stepped up and did that. The vaccination stepped up and did that. When there was an issue about medical support, they created their own clinic. That was amazing. To me, that was essentially these bright shining stars that should be on the chest of every union member that, yeah, we did this. And that's a great asset. Does it mean that they're perfect? Hell no. There's still systems broken inside. I mean, people are not getting paid. They're not getting supported. There's hookups. Some shop stewards seem to get hookups. It's always a discussion and there's always a fight internally. But that's a shining star that Local 54 did here. Also, like the firemen's union, I can't praise them anymore, man. These brothers and sisters are wonderful, man. They give continuously to the community, always ready to cook out and everything. They're going to participate in tomorrow's Unity Day. And they don't ask for a lot of stuff in return. I mean, realistically, it's just a logical thing to protect their members and to ensure that they have the safety nets they need to, provisions that they need to. Those are the two that always seem to shine out. And then you have others, man. You have blue collar workers, entry level workers, and you have others that have been struggling to be looked at and treated fairly. They've been given crumbs off the table. And it's always the cream of the crop that gets the best cut, it seems to be. And over here, it's always public safety, the police department always get the best cut off of the prime rib, and everybody else gets the fat and the grease and the bones. And, I guess with some expectation for those who do the most, probably the most is expected per se, for lack of a better term. But some unions get a lot more shake or have more time to sit at the table and enjoy more on the table than others. And it's a shame because everyone deserves to feel like they're comfortable at their work. Those who are working feel safe, protected, give them the tools that they need to do the work, and have that system of appreciation, whether it's their salary or the potential of them making more money, raises and getting bonuses. Those are essential, man. That's part of the economy. It's part of the American way to be able to feel comfortable with it. But this union busting that happens, I hate it, man. I hate the concept that sometimes it's in some options they feel it's better for a union to be busted and broken apart than to sit at the table. That's a shame. Because all it is human beings. Because you got some human beings that's all it is human beings. You got some human beings that come to the table represent the union, and they're just the wrong people to do so. And they mess it up for everybody else, and it's a shame. And that's not everyone. It's just, we're all human beings, man. Not everyone is a great representative in every aspect. Some people are just really good at one thing and not the other. Just like having a neurosurgeon being the head of HUD. Just one doesn't necessarily.
That was a whack job. That was a head turner. There's no doubt about it. But REO is considered as a freaking cookie.
Yeah,
that was bugged out.
Yeah, and I respectfully appreciate Ben Carson for his acumen and his dedication to be such an expert and being so excellent in what he does as a neurosurgeon.
Correct.
But HUD
was a bad. But then again, like it says, one bad decision after another. That's how it was, And when Biden stepped up into that office, he had a lot of work ahead of him. Because turning back the hands of time is never easy.
Yeah, it's a shame. You know what it reminded me though when it first reported that? It reminds me it's always the comfortable group of people that usually in power always send like an example, right? Okay, we need security guards. Who are we going to get us a security guard? Somebody bigger and badder that represents their community. You got to deal with your people.
Mm-hmm.
If you're working with poor people, you got to get somebody of color who naturally have to work with poor people because that's what you see as your people. I'm gonna send you out to it. And that's really foul. It's fucked up how it seems to be that way.
It is.
It's the national agenda is always certain people are best suited to work with.
That's the mindsets of individuals. That's the mindset of that individual. That's why I look at it, because all men are not created equal in certain instances.
Yeah, the stereotypes of Asians being better at math, and I'm like, that's foul. You know what I mean? If it's a blessing to them, okay, cool for those that can. But to make a broad stroke on a race or an ethnicity. Based on your prejudices,
like I said, that's that individual's mindset.
Yeah,
that's that one particular individual that's making that assumption. That's their mindset.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm a strong advocate for the underdogs, man. I love when I see people who just don't fit in come in and shine. Love it, love it, love it. I love it. I'm always for the
you ought to love my book then. Because, trust me, that's the only way I saw things for many, many years.
Yeah. Me too.
But that's what actually makes you rise and shine, man. That's what it's all about.
Me too.
The motivation,
Yeah. Me too. I think that's been my mantra. Because I've been the underdog. I've been written, never given a fair chance.
Yeah.
Not part of the clique. I wasn't dark enough. I wasn't too light. I didn't speak Spanish, because of my last name. Every reason in the world why not to like me or why not give me a chance is their reason why I wasn't good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Even in this whole scape of running for mayor, it's the same old prejudices and hating and all the bullshit, although I'm homebred. I'm from the city, raised in the city, part of everybody's community. Everybody's seen me in one aspect or another, knows the efforts I worked with the community, worked with children so many decades, people giving me accolades, pats in the back, we see you. And then until I put in opposition to the guy they want to call the heir apparent. That's the funny shit about it. The heir apparent.
It's the funny shit.
Oh my God, the heir apparent. When some dude just told me that locally, I was laughing. I was like, bruh, an heir apparent? So he's royalty? And who made him king? Oh my God. But that's the animosity and I guess small-minded thoughts that some people have and they continue to have and not seeing the grander scope of things. But it is what it is, and I've been fighting. I'm not going to complain about being the underdog. I am who I am.
It's a good position because, like I said, once you're the underdog, they don't ever see you coming. Mm-hmm. And when you take over things, then it says, where did that come from?
Yep.
And it's called the element of surprise.
Yeah. And that's been majority of what it is. Like in a very
element of surprise.
When I started my scope, they didn't see. Well, they saw the potential. One is because I worked inside of a community, working with community-based groups. The other one is because I'm Latino. And they had no one who really can advocate to Latinos. And then secondly, because I represented more than one community, was an asset to them. Boy, did they not, we weren't ready for what was coming up.
They were never ready.
Yeah, they thought they were going to use me as a token, did what they did, and all of a sudden, I was able to get the platform, and I just took off. And from there on, every election, I got the most votes. Every election, I had the most support. Um, so much discussion in the community, so much love from the community. It just showed. And then all we were doing was perpetuating good things, man, great things, not coming at no one really. Even in the situations and debates, I wasn't coming at the young people or the people wanting to fill the shoes that I was filling at the time. No, not at all. I support you, and I appreciate that you're doing it. But let's get real. If you're not suited for it, then maybe you should wait your turn or wait for another try. At this point in time, I'm still in a position. Let me do what I need to do. Help.
Handle business.
Yep. Hand and let me handle my business until the time comes, and when it's time for me to step out, you're welcome to it. But it is what it is.
You know.
That's how politics is, man. That's how politics is. But I'm just hoping, like I said, during this time, because earlier on I was sitting there contemplating. I was like, "There's so much sadness going on, man." We just recently buried so many kids at a really straight time, like. And then I saw something on a national agenda on Monday. They said, was it 170 gun violence deaths had occurred? 170 people that lost their lives in America on a Monday. I said, damn.
Yeah, but imagine on Father's Day, there was a lot of stuff going on Father's Day also. A lot of shootings, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, there was shootings.
But the inner city has always been known to be hell. That's just the bottom line.
It is. And the discussions are being had. Like, I know this is one thing that really caught me off guard, which I didn't know the context of it, but I was trying to really get into it. Governor Murphy he had made a statement about the increase in violence, and he made a statement that just at that time rubbed me the wrong way until I listened to the full statement and got an understanding where he was coming from, and just thought to myself, well, maybe you should have thought a better word. You may not have had a racial undertone behind it. However, it just didn't sound at the timing. He was basically saying with the pandemic being had, African Americans and urban communities feeling unshackled from the pandemic, and in times of desperation and mental health woes, people have made bad choices and going into guns and gun violence. This is why possible increase in violence in the communities. And I was like, unshackled? I said, if any other word you could have chose, you couldn't have chosen another word. Unshackled? So it was just,
before you talk.
Yeah.
Think before you talk.
I mean, I'm pretty certain he's a good Irish boy, as they say, good Irish lad. But if you had years and years of racial undertone and bigotry and so on and so forth that manifest in the system, and if you have to represent so many of us, I just think that word may have not been the best choice for him. I think the context of what he was saying, I understand. The pandemic put a lot of weighs on people, and I understand where he's coming from. But just the word.
He did not season his words. That's the bottom line.
Just it rubbed me the wrong way, and I was like, "Wow, did he actually say that?" Yeah, I guess he did. But he, like all of us, we have to stand by what we say, and we have to defend on what our point of view. It's just, did he make a bad choice? He probably did, because I heard he did try to backtrack behind it and try. I'm like, it's a shame, it's just, if we do as a veteran speaker, like Barack used to always go, and use pauses in between what he was saying to think about what he wanted to say. And he would say many times. And I used to joke with my son, because I always taught him that at times when people speak, there are situations where they use pause words, like, you know what I mean, or you know what I'm saying.
Exactly. Exactly. Those are pause words.
Right. And or phrases, pause phrases that basically just they think they have to say while they're thinking, so they don't sound to be dumb, or they don't want to feel like they're breaking the context of what's being said, the momentum of the discussion. And some people have to use that. And Barack was famous for using and it used to irritate the shit out of me, because I'm like, yo, you're so intelligent, brother. Why do you need that? But I guess it's better that he did it, that he didn't come out his mouth and say things without being seasoned, or wasn't as sympathetic to what's being said. I really applaud his efforts, but some of us have to do it. Some of us, I guess, a little better at it.
Like it says, it definitely depends on the person.
Hell yeah. So I like to, I guess I'm proud of being able to communicate, but sometimes I think I need to pause more, because I'm quick at the fire.
Don't ever say something today that you'll regret tomorrow. That's what I've learned.
I'm quick at the fire to say things, and I guess I was tested the other day when we had the press conference. There was a man had some serious issues, enough that he just was really arrogant about what he was saying, and really he was very angry and upset, and basically foaming at the mouth. He was so angry and upset and getting in people's faces, and he was being accusatory. He was like, "It's you, I can't stand you," and he was saying really bad foul terms and coming at me because I'm a councilman, one of 10 people, and then the process, and he's naming the judge that he has a problem with, and then he's running off all like, "Yeah, I'm related to the mayor, I'm related to this lawyer." And then come to find out later on down the line, it's all bullshit, but he's angry and upset. But when he was coming his mouth, he was painting he was using a broad stroke of accusations that it gets me so upset when people do that shit. Make long, broad strokes of people and try to include you in their animosity. Whatever animus that you have, if you feel it's just, then you let it out. Do what you got to say. Speak your truth. I believe in that, man. Speak your truth. But, be careful who you accuse, because sometimes you're making someone a villain that doesn't deserve to be a villain. And then, in turn, you're making them an enemy, and who was once an ally or friend. You have to be careful. Like I said, me being quick to fire, I've learned throughout the ages, sometimes I may have opened my mouth a little too soon with too much passion, and I've had to take my steps back. I've never apologized per se, because I try to be very cautious in not being offensive. But at times where people are hurt, I made sure I extended the hand, and if I did wrong, I made sure I corrected myself and gave them credit for bringing me out for that. So I'm humble, man. I'm human. I fuck up. I fuck up.
We all. It's part of life. You remember when you started, you have to crawl before you walk, and you still have to fall down in the process.
Hell yeah. No one's perfect, man. No one's perfect.
Not at all.
I know. I think probably the biggest thorn that I have is people who do wrong to choose to do wrong. If you're a person and you're trying to do good and you're saying that you're doing good, but you're doing wrong, I got a problem with you. You're a liar. I got a problem with you. But if you have a person who just doesn't say, like an individual, a joker that knows he's a crook, doesn't say he's not a crook, I got a respect for you, because at least you're not lying about it. It's foul that you do it, but at least I can respect that you're not lying about it. Or somebody who has a problem with me directly. If someone's racist and doesn't like me and calls me straight up a spick, a nigga, in my face, I will respect that person because of their opinion. They're willing to stand on their opinion. I don't like it, but I respect it. It's the person that pats me on my back and says, "Oh, you're such a good friend," and isn't. Somebody says, "Oh, you're a great this," and actually want to stab you in the back, or will spit on you, will steal from you, will take the food out of your child's mouth, that type of deal, will clip your mom, your elderly mom trying to cross the street, because that's how dastardly they are. But smile in your face. Those are the people I can't stand. And politics exposes a lot of people like that.
That swimming pool is full of that, man. I'm telling you, alligators, snakes, the whole 9 yards. It's like a cesspool. They're swimming around inside that freaking, that entire globe. I'll tell you, because everybody has a private agenda. That's the thing that's crazy. Everybody has a private agenda. What they want to accomplish, who they're going to use in order to accomplish their goal. That's what it is.
Yeah, we have.
Ironically enough, the ones who became the majority of people that actually, you have either businessmen or lawyers, end up getting into politics.
Mm-hmm. I know. In a situation like this, like my wife has always been calm. She's always been cool with everybody. Everyone knows her being soft spoken, and she's been subjected to some bullshit lately, and it's really getting on her. And I'm always trying to encourage her to have tougher skin, but I'm also at the same point in time where I'm so upset and I'm disappointed in myself that I couldn't shield her from it. Disappointed that I'm not good enough, that people don't find the need to come at her with bullshit that has nothing to do with her. Indirect shit, trying to be slick and say things that they know would get on my nerves, but getting at her, she don't deserve that. I've always felt that, leave your wives alone. If you have an opponent that you think is an opponent, that person right there, that's the only person you need to focus on. Don't focus on their loved one or their children and so on and so forth, unless they're doing something specifically that you have a problem with. Then you speak to that individual, not as a group, but as at that individual. But if a person's your opponent, leave it to that person. You ain't got to talk about their kids. You don't have to talk about their their family members. No, that's not cool. You know, that's not right to do that. Don't include them in the process that's dirty. You know, maybe that's their only source of peace and sanctity.
Well, that's how they try to get to you.
Yep.
That's how they try to get to you because, like that old adage, behind every good man is a good woman. And if you actually get to her, you could get to him indirectly. Yeah. So they tried it. Look at what Trump was doing with Ted Cruz's wife.
Oh man, the Trump guy is hilarious. You see how he's going to go to
he wrote the book on dirty politics. He wrote the book on dirty politics.
He probably has written another book about dirty politics.
Dirty politics, yeah, no doubt.
Yeah,
no doubt. I won't put it past him.
How much influence he still has? Like these idiots are
substantial freaking amount. That's the problem.
He's not in power, doesn't have a title, nothing, but yet he still has influence over these elected officials.
He still have these people that will lay down their lives for him and die.
These puppets, like the insurrection.
Pied Piper of politics. He's the Pied Piper
of improper politics. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Yep. He's it's a shame because they were just talking about examples of justice, like the one person that got prosecuted for the insurrection. There were $500 fine and probation. $500 fine and probation. An insurrection that ended up with multiple people dying, where the justice system is put in question, people's lives in question, breaking into the biggest public housing property is in America, which is the White House and the Capitol, and destroying public property, but yet $500.
Well, the thing about it is because even though you say $500 and things of that nature, we've always known that it's been this. It's not a united nation; it's a divided nation.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we're dealing with. Yep. And we've always seen the biases, in this country. There's no doubt about that. So what we're seeing from all these slap on the wrist type deals, we know that was going to happen. Now, in the back of our minds, we know that they were going to do that.
Yeah.
We know it. We know a lot of these people are going to get off scot-free. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what.
When we talk about the injustices in the justice system, that's like we talk about, what happened today with Derek Chauvin. Did we finally get it? Did we finally get some remnants of justice? That's not, that's not justice.
They sentenced him to 22 and a half years, but they say on good behavior, he gets out in 10.
Mm-hmm. You
tell me.
Yep.
Even though the prosecutors wanted 30 years, the judge says 22 and a half, and I'm going to get on good behavior 10 years.
Yeah, he knowingly killed a man. In a process of, in a position of power and authority, he knowingly killed a man, and he only got.
I quote: the prosecutor said he shocked the conscience of a nation, but not only a nation, nations around the world, to see this man takes another person's life.
Very true.
But look at the difference between that and the insurrection going on over here on the other side.
Yep.
Where's the difference?
None.
There isn't any. There is injustice on a major freaking level.
A lot of it, and people have to know this, the justice system also weighs on from the state side, because states' laws at times are one of the reasons why we don't see the same equity in the justice system.
Correct.
And that's where we have to get it better. And for those of you who may not be aware, just going for the national elections doesn't do it. You got to make sure that you go on the state side. Make sure your assembly,
governor,
senators, they speak and they understand what you want and they do exactly what you need. They need to go back into the justice system to be able, in the assembly itself, decide laws. Go back into old laws, diminish the ones that are unrealistic and unlawful, and then put in ones that are more practical, more realistic, and more to the point for what needs to be done right now, and nothing that's biased. The gun laws suggest in the levels of Michigan, the justice system, he actually went above what his window was suggesting that he could do. He said, the judge basically claimed that he's going to give more than the window suggests, which just tells me that, it's time for new windows. In the state of Michigan, when looking,
windows are broken.
The catalog was provided.
Those windows are pane, window pane.
Hell yeah. Do you look at it, from a little pizza window, or do you looking at it from a broad, like a a bump out, a bay window. You know what I mean? It really depends. When you just say, "Oh, this thing kind of window," no, it's not.
Like
One
I
is a lot
said,
more open for justice or entitlement for one side because it's easier to be able to do that than the other. Like, and this is an exaggeration, and one thing has very little to do with the other. But do you know that in America we still have states where it is legal to marry a 12-year-old? It is legal still to marry a 12-year-old child. And in instances in nations and all over, they are looking at marriage of a 14-year-old girl as a remedy to avoid from rape that takes place older men and children in secular countries in other parts of the world. In the Middle East, I think recently that just took place. And a women's coalition of Muslim women were trying to side with this whole concept of legalizing marriage to a young person. I think it was 14 is the age. And it was a solution to avoiding rape or children being sold into ownership. And it's really sad how the justice system, again, society, we look at things as just, depends on what we want to believe is just. And it's fucked up.
well, the law is jacked because a lot of the laws on the books, a lot of them are antiquated in many ways, and it needs to be updated. You know, I remember going over one of the laws many years ago. You're going to find out that if you checked in to a hotel room with someone of the opposite sex in North Carolina, they will consider you as being married.
Mhm.
You know, so you could just check in there with your girlfriend or whatever, and then she comes down and says, you know, we're married. You know, I mean, the laws are jacked up. A lot of the laws need to be changed. It's antiquated. It's old.
I
It needs
think
to be done away with.
Georgia is still one of those states where you have girls that are 13 and 14 able to marry. You have consensual sex states. I think Ohio and Texas, they have consensual states at like 11 and 12. If they are old enough to know right and wrong, they're old enough to choose whether they can have sex or not. I'm like, what kind of shit is that? And it's being pushed by a group of individuals who think that sex with children is okay. You know, these are pedophiles, and they're proud of what they like, and they think they have the right to have this opinion, this like, in the process of it, and it's the craziest thing. But if you're listening at it with unbiased eyes, is it the truth? Should they get the ability to be able to function? Should they have the same equal rights as someone else who has less obscure sexual preferences? That's the shit where sometimes you draw that line like, hold up, everything is good until you cross this line. When this is the line, do we draw that line and say everything is good until you get to this point? And that's where I'm like, I guess I'm more conservative to that point. Like, as an adult, whatever you want to do, whatever rocks your boat, you know.
Well, the only person that could change those laws are the politicians, the people in office.
Yep.
Bottom line.
Yep. Exactly. And that's what we have to enable and empower people that makes decisions based on what we want as the populace. We've had too many individuals who think they're strong enough on their own to make decisions on their own. Well, you know, they are good decision makers and they're good, but if you don't have the inclusion of the community, and if your community ain't following the same conduits of the same message that you're providing, then you're self-supporting, you know, and that's not what you're there for. You're supposed to represent and be the voice of the people. You're not supposed to be the voice and then people have to just listen to whatever voice you have. No, hell no, you know. But that's the illness that America still sits. There's so many, and it was brought to my attention. Just other examples here and there, because we're talking about commercial laws. There's so many laws on the books that are way antiquated that should not be. You know, it's the most idiotic things that are still going on.
Yeah.
That still continues to manifest, and it's sad because we're so lost in the shit that we can't control that we don't understand that we need to put more emphasis on the things that we can control.
But look at this, Mo. You said that some of those people doing the insurrection are getting like a slap on the wrist, the $500 or whatever the case may be. But remember when Trump passed a law in reference to anyone that's trying to desecrate or whatever the case may be, a national monument. It was 10-year prison sentence for these people.
Mm.
A lot of those people that actually, January 6th, they're not going to see 10 years.
No, not
A lot of them are walking away, left and right and saying, hey, look, he put me up to doing this stuff, and they pointed at Trump or whatever the case may be, some of the other politicians that led him to this insurrection.
That's
So
crazy.
they're not going to see 10 years. But if it was a Black Lives Matter or whatever the case may be, it would have been a different story. It's double standard.
Wow. Laws, and I'm just looking. I was trying to do a quick research on some of the crazy ass laws out here. In Alaska, it says, based on this website called dumblaws.com.
Yeah.
It's not about current statutes, but it sort of like misconstrues the statutes. But it says it's illegal for a drunk person to enter a bar in Alaska. A woman's hair does not legally belong to her husband in Michigan. That's actually a fight and debate of a law. Another one that goes on in Alabama, the city of Mobile, Alabama, which is right off of not too far away from New Orleans, may know how to throw down on Mardi Gras, but they can't use plastic confetti, strictly prohibited. Here, in New Jersey, Atlantic City, that it's illegal to let balloons go in the air.
Yeah, I remember when they passed that law.
Yeah.
So you don't remember that one?
I know. I was sitting on the.
Yeah, okay, I thought so. That's the reason why I actually posed that question that particular way.
It made sense, when balloons end up in the middle of the ocean and they're killing wildlife and they're obstructing the view of pilots and they're getting in the way and caught electrical wires.
Another one is the laser beam. Those laser beams, that's like $10,000 fine when you actually point it at a aircraft or something.
Yep. Arizona, you can't feed garbage to pigs without obtaining a permit. Okay. In Arkansas,
you know that pig's going to end up on the table later on. That would be a ham.
In Arkansas, a pinball machine can't give away more than 25 free games to a player who keeps winning. Wow. Pinball machine. So if you're a pinball player, don't go around Kansas.
Yeah, stay out of there.
Uh-huh. California, frog that dies during a frog jumping contest cannot be eaten and must be destroyed as soon as possible. Damn.
In Florida, I remember, it said it was illegal for you to tie your alligator to a fire hydrant.
Mm-hmm. Wait, hold up. Colorado, big one. You have to get a permit to modify the weather. To modify the weather. There's a permit that they created to modify the weather. I guess it has to do with.
If you think that you're Jesus, go for it. If you think you're Jesus, go for it. You know what I'm saying? Apply for your permit.
I wonder if that has to do with the snowmakers. You know how they have snow blowers and creating snow? I don't know if that creating atmospheres like that, is that what they're talking about? You need to have that. In Connecticut, junk collectors may be out of luck in this state. It says junk, rag papers, glass, old metal, junk, cinders, other waste matter in the city without a license. You cannot collect it without a license. You have to be licensed. Ooh, Delaware. It's a misdemeanor to sell, barter, or offer the fur of a domestic dog or cat. That's crazy.
Yeah. It wound up on somebody's table.
Here we go. Florida. It's always the home of crazy people and person, including myself. I was born there. People who own bars, restaurants, and other places where liquor is sold may be fined up to $1,000 if they participate in or permit any contest of dwarf tossing. So, yeah. Florida, no throwing the little people. No.
Yeah, leave those little people alone,
Oh, my God. I thought Georgia was something special. It said those engaged in llama-related activities such as riding, training, or goofing around at a county fair are responsible for any personal injuries they suffer. Fuck with a llama, they beat you up. That's your fault. That's your fault. Oh, wow. Hawaii. Billboards have no place in paradise. They're outlawed in the state with few exceptions, including notices for public offices, signs posted where goods are sold. Damn, they got it right. No nonsense. No billboards. Isn't that nice? Wouldn't that be nice?
But Georgia, was it Florida passed the law also during the protest? If a protest is happening and they're blocking the street and your car hit one of these people, you won't be charged. Imagine that.
Yeah. She's crazy. Look at this. This ought to be fun. Let me share it with you. This ought to be funny. Idaho, cannibalism strictly prohibited and punishable by up to 14 years of prison. Wow. Idaho has to make it a law. So is that saying the other 49 states you're able to eat one another?
Yeah. Remember what Jeffrey Dahmer was?
Crazy white guy ended up eating some people. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You wouldn't want Jeffrey to be your best friend. Trust me.
Yeah. And I guess Illinois, you can't own more than 6 pounds worth of salamanders. Is that a business? I guess it's a business thing. Wow. Indiana, liquor stores can't sell refrigerated water or soda. Can't sell refrigerated water or soda. Oh, so you can't get a regular refreshment out of a liquor store. That's what it is in Indiana. Guess I won't be thirsty in Indiana then. Iowa. Anyone trying to pass off margarine as real butter is guilty as a misdemeanor under food labeling laws in Iowa. And they should be shot. If you're trying to sell margarine like to be real butter, you should be shot for all of us.
But that's no different from the same thing with Jersey Fresh. You cannot sell any produce that's not grown in New Jersey as Jersey Fresh.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm with that. Kansas, there's no place like home to get tipsy. It's illegal to sell liquor by the glass in over 25 counties across Kansas, which repealed prohibition a full 15 years after Congress. Damn, they were saying you can't sell it by the glass, so they were selling by the bottle. Damn, there was some heavy drinkers in Kansas. We got to check out the rates of alcoholism in Kansas. Kentucky, every legislator, public officer, lawyer must take an oath stating that they have not fought a duel with deadly weapons. Damn. Ain't that funny? A duel.
I don't know if you've ever watched that the show Finding Your Roots. Have you ever heard of it? Because I come to find out recently, who was it? Brian Gumble. One of his ancestors was one of the original founders of Mobile, Alabama. Check that out.
Okay.
Interesting. But he come to find out also that one of his relatives fought as a Confederate.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I mean, I can believe that.
Yeah.
Our history.
About 1,000 of them fought, as Confederate. And as soon as the Union Army took over, then they actually changed sides to be, the Union Army.
In Louisiana, for those folks that live down there, if jambalaya is prepared in a traditional manner, it's not subject to state sanitary code. What the hell is that saying? If you make it in a traditional manner, you ain't got to worry how nasty and sloppy it is. That's deep. For those who don't like jambalaya, next time you go out to New Orleans,
you eat at your own risk, pal.
Keep that the Creole stir fry. That's crazy. You
eat at your own risk.
A game of chance called Beano, like bingo, is regulated here. Wow, Maine, they get busy up there, huh? Heavy duty spending on that side. Maryland, fortune telling is illegal in Maryland. You have to guess it on your own. You can't get a fortune teller in Maryland. Poor Marylandites. Massachusetts, whether you're at Gillette Stadium or Fenway Park, you'll never hear just half of the Star Spangled Banner. Okay. Got to hear the whole song.
Nothing wrong with that.
Out of respect. It's out of respect. It should be the whole song.
They tell them to take a knee right after, huh?
Yeah, I'm like, who would do that though? That's just like a logical thing. Why would you cut it? Michigan, a statute on the books since 1931 makes adultery a felony in the state. Michigan.
Yeah. But Michigan is not the only one. There's other states also.
Ooh, yeah. So them basketball players over there in Detroit.
I think North Carolina is one of them.
Them Pistons, y'all better watch out. Y'all better stay dedicated.
Yeah, North Carolina. Yeah. Because, if you cheat with a married person, they can sue you for actually breaking up their marriage.
It just says here, possible $5,000 fine plus prison. Damn. Just stay with your wife, stop cheating, or your husband and stop cheating. That happens both times.
Or stay by yourself.
Exactly. Minnesota, any contest in which participants try to capture a greased or oiled pig is illegal. Oh, wow. Minnesota just doesn't like state fairs, huh? Okay. You seem to be that's like the Olympic trials and shit in state fairs, it seems. Mississippi, 2010, profanity in public could land a person in jail for up to 30 days. Imagine if that was a book on the books all over the nation.
Well, and you go overseas, like in Trinidad, you can't go on stage. You're gonna start using profanity. They're gonna haul your ass to jail.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I think there was the same type of stuff as in Jamaica too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot the name of it. Matter of fact, I think all of the Caribbean nations are the same way. All the nations.
Trinidad is definitely one of them.
Huh?
I know Trinidad is one of them. One of the American rappers went down there and they were on stage.
Yeah.
They were like cutting up a storm and they're like, oh, hell no.
Yeah, they're told. That's why a lot of there's lots of jazz and R&B festivals all over in the different countries in the Caribbean. It's the hip hop ones and the rock ones. Those are the ones that have to be reminded consistently. And it's the Department of Protocol that tells them, you can't. And there's always an officer right there at the end of the stage ready. Because the minute they slip up or make any kind of lewd suggestions, it's lewd behavior. That's the frame that they use, lewd behavior. Missouri, bull or ram over the age of 1 year runs rampant for more than 3 days. Any person may castrate the animal without assuming liability for damage. Oh, my God. Talking about mountain oysters. Oh, Lord. Montana, driving animals onto a railroad track with intent to injure the train can result in a fine. Fuck the dog, right? That's foul. That's foul. Montana got some sick, twisted people. I got to worry about Montana. That's where my wife was born, Montana.
Get out.
Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say nothing. Right, Nick? Mm-hmm. Nebraska, no person is afflicted with a sexually transmitted disease can marry. Or who's afflicted with sex? Well, that should be a no-brainer, right? That should be a deal breaker. Oh, you got a sexually transmitted disease? Yeah, I still love you. Really? Nevada, using an x-ray machine to determine a person's shoe size can get you in trouble in the state. What the hell? Who the hell does that? That's crazy. New Hampshire, it's illegal to carry away or collect seaweed at night. In New Hampshire, seaweed at night. Okay. Here we go. Jersey, a person wearing a bulletproof vest while carrying out a grave criminal act can be charged separately for suiting up. The practical effect is more jail and fines. Oh, shit. So I guess if you wear a bulletproof vest while gardening by yourself, you're okay.
But not only that, but down on the islands also, like in Trinidad, you cannot wear any type of army fatigue unless you're in the military.
No camo?
Nope, you cannot wear it. Nope.
Wow. I wasn't aware of that. Okay.
Yeah, you can't wear it unless you're in the military. That's it. Because they had a rise up many years ago, and they passed some of these laws.
Wow. I guess I got to leave my
Don't try to go
camouflage cargo shorts at home.
Yeah, they'll tell you straight up.
Oh God, here we go. New Mexico. I think they're on something. For many years, idiots could not vote in most elections. The word was historically used to describe someone mentally disabled or with an IQ below 30. Idiots could not vote in most elections. Isn't that the discussion on the national agenda about idiots voting?
Well, apparently they lifted that law. Apparently that was repealed.
We know that to be true. New York, the Empire State bans being masked or in any manner disguised in public with other people dressed in the same getup. What?
Yeah, because basically you could actually commit a crime and everybody's dressed alike.
And hide.
I saw that at the convention center in Atlantic City many years ago when they had a concert at the convention center. And what happened, these two guys were dressed up as the cowboy from Toy Story. Okay. And they were on the casino floor at Trump Plaza fighting it out with each other. Both of them dressed alike.
Right.
It was ridiculous.
Right. But, I wonder if that applies still during the pandemic time. because pandemic, you had to wear a mask. And if
Everybody had to wear a mask.
right, if you all wearing, say, all in a uniform or working in a facility, all the nurses that go into the hospital wearing masks, they're all basically dressed and covered face with the same clothing. Somebody dressed as a nurse with a mask on, does a crime. How does that apply? I don't know. That's interesting though. But I can see the how it correlates. North Carolina, a bingo game being conducted or sponsored by a commercial organization may not last more than 5 hours. Oh shit, 4 hours of bingo. Good in North Carolina. 4 hours of bingo. B12. 4 hours. Shit, that's a long time. Bingo.
That's a long time.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of concentration.
Mm-hmm. Oh God, this is serious. North Dakota. All members of North Dakota's Dry Pea and Lentil Council must be citizens. Yeah, we can't have people who are not citizens there in that council. What the hell do they do? Count the lentils, peas?
Yeah, they're bean counters. I know you've heard of that before.
But bean counters. Here we go. Ohio. Every operator of an underground coal mine must provide an adequate supply of toilet paper with each toilet. I think it's a helpful thing.
Yeah, that's
Coal
necessary.
Can you imagine being a coal mine and like, oops, no more toilet paper?
Now you know where the shortage came about.
Woo, hell yeah, there we go. Hell yeah, in Ohio. That's where all the toilet paper went. There in Pennsylvania, the coal miners. Oklahoma. McCarthyism is alive and well. A state statute still on the book says it's a fact that there exists an international communist conspiracy committed to overthrowing the U.S. government. I guess they're saying Oklahomans don't get out much. That's deep.
Yeah.
Oregon, leaving a container of urine or fecal matter on the side of the road is a Class A misdemeanor. And you should get beat down for doing that, nasty ass. Ugh. Fecal matter and urine on the side of the road. I guess you can pee and poop all you want to, just don't leave it in a container, huh? Pennsylvania, here we go. This will define how crazy Pennsylvanians are. Human trafficking in general violates too many international laws to count, but Pennsylvania felt the need to specify in the law that you can't barter a baby. I don't know.
Yeah, there's something wrong with that.
Yeah. Meaning shit is
in
happening.
many ways.
Exactly. Shit is happening anyway. Rhode Island, someone who bites off another person's limb will face no more than 20 years in prison, but no less than 1. If you biting off a fucking limb? What? Yo, what? Rhode Island? You got people biting off limbs? Y'all need to eat something. Shit, somebody open up a buffet in Rhode Island. South Carolina, male over the age of 16 can't seduce a woman by falsely promising to marry her. However, no law exists with the gender roles reversed. Oh, that's foul. A woman can get off by saying she's going to marry the man. Just give me some booty. Oh, that's bad. See? That's bad. South Dakota, liquor stores can't sell alcoholic candy containing more than 0.5% alcohol by weight. Okay. That's cool. That's a lot of liquor, though. Damn.
Yeah, that's a lot of liquor.
Tennessee, you can't hunt, trap, or harm an albino deer intentionally. Who would want to? Look how cute he is. That's rare. You see something like that, I think it's Native Americans. They talk about albino deer, how it's like a spirit. Yeah, I'd be like blown away if I see an albino deer. Be sitting there like all reverence, like wow.
For some people that looks cute. For other people, that's a male.
True that. People wishing to run for office in Texas must acknowledge the supreme being. If not, they could be subjected to religious tests. Religious tests? Kind of flim flam. That's why Texas has got some weird ass people. They could be subjected to religious tests. That's not even within the Supreme Court of their rights. That's crazy. No, in Utah, no one may hurl a missile at a bus or bus terminal except peace officers and security personnel. Problem. You're not going to see any kind of Black Lives Matter happening in Utah.
No, not at all.
Nope. Yep, because they're able to throw missiles at a bus. Oh, what kind of shit is that? Nope. No protests in Utah. Vermont, the legislature created a law that prohibits outlawing solar collectors and clotheslines, listing both items as energy devices based on renewable resources. A clothesline? Yo, they got issues in Vermont. Bernie Sanders, what's going on with your people? Virginia, an odd law still on the book suggests Virginia is for prudes, not lovers. Oh, what kind of crap? Fornication, the sex completed, banned except for married couples. You can't get it on in Virginia on the books. That's a shame. Doors to Washington, doors to nearly all public buildings must open outwardly.
Outwardly.
Why?
That means it cannot fold in, it's got to go outwards.
Yeah, I get it. I'm just, why is there a dilemma about what direction? I don't know. West Virginia, don't attempt to substitute a hunting dog for a ferret in West Virginia. Although, I guess ferrets are good hunters, though, because it depends on what you're hunting for. He's not a hunting dog. West Virginia, some special folks out there. There's some special folks. Let's see. What else we got? Wisconsin. In America's Dairyland, many different kinds of state-certified cheeses like Munster, Cheddar, Colby, and Monterey Jack must be highly pleasing. Who the hell? What? You imagine somebody's job is just solely to monitor the cheeses to say whether something's highly
quality testing.
All kinds of cholesterol issues, man. Does that look like it's good, gooey? But it look like your heart hurts after about taking 2 bites of that. Nah, that's okay. Wyoming, it's reportedly illegal to cut, sever, detach, or mutilate more than 1/2 of a sheep's ear. So to some degree, you can mutilate a calf's ear. Wow. Okay. Well, I guess that's it for Insider.com, BusinessInsider.com. Thank you for that submission, and we appreciate having a chance to have this discussion on our show. It's crazy. It just shows. But there's other things that are going on the books-wise, other laws. I've heard some really stupid shit, but when it comes to like,
there's a lot of madness out there.
Yeah.
And they're not going to stop the madness either.
Hell no. Crazy laws worldwide. That's the crazy ones. We'll probably do a show just on crazy laws. But
crazy laws. Crazy people making crazy things.
Yeah, man. So let me ask you a question. You been paying attention to the Olympic trials?
Yeah, I was checking out a few of them.
Yeah. Do you watch the Olympics?
Yeah, I watch it. Watch a good bit of it. I enjoy watching every now and then,
Yeah.
I have was it Sonia Richardson?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I met her a few years ago at the plaza and stuff. Yeah, and my man from Trinidad. So yeah, it was pretty good. Watch a little bit of that and the playoffs also. Been watching more of the playoffs though.
Okay.
And if you've been watching that
basketball,
how the Sixers went.
They got their asses handed to them. Woo! Basketball? Trae Young was he people not paying attention, and he has this look on his face, this demonic little sinister look after he wins the games. He looks at everybody in the crowd like, "Yeah, I told you so." I'm like, "Yo, that's dangerous, bro."
But at the same time, you look at Brooklyn Nets. The very first game that they played, beaten by 50 points. And then they turn around, they end up beating them in the whole series. I guess that's punishment, man. I'm telling you. That's for embarrassment. You say you embarrass me by 50 points, we blow your ass out. That's what they did.
I had ongoing conversations with my son about the problem with building the super team concept. I couldn't stand how LeBron was trying to create the super team. And I kept saying, super team ain't going to win but so much. They might get the initial boost, but after that, it's going to dissipate. It shows. It already broke apart. They're sitting their asses down, not even in the first round. They didn't even make it. They got their asses handed to them with a super team. The Brooklyn Nets, they had the chance and potential to be as a super team, but injuries and other stuff and bad decisions prove that doesn't mean nothing. And I know people are starting to point fingers like at KD, Durant, for taking that bad choice at the last minute. But I'm like, get realistic about it. He's a shooter, and shooter's not always 100%. You know, and in that stressful moment, you can't always think that he's going to be so clutch. He's going to make it all the time. It's just it happens. But he should have had a better choice selection, shot selection, or pass it to the right person. I still say the same thing. Kyrie Irving has this. I don't know if it's a curse or people are just that much better when he plays. But when something happens and there's some sort of stress between the team and Kyrie Irving, they seem to fall. They seem to fail. You know, when Kyrie's playing and on there, they're unstoppable. You got James Harden, one of the best shooters on the planet, hard as hell to block him. KD's in it. He's got a support system that's incredible on the inside. Green hitting those threes like crazy. I really love how he's stepping up. And so many other great players on the squad. It's just they just couldn't close it. That's what I'm saying about Milwaukee right now. The Bucks, great team, but they're not closers. They just for some odd reason you'll see late in the fourth quarter, wah wah wah, and they fall apart.
I would have loved to see, New Jersey, not here in New Jersey, but the Nets, versus Philadelphia. That would have been a really good, playoff. But hey,
I wanted to see.
Those two teams, those two, they're notorious for rivalry, man. I'm telling you.
Well, I'm not a Sixers fan. Haven't been a Sixers fan since Dr. J's days and Bobby Jones and those days, that type of stuff. So, but this year they had a lot of great players on the team, man. A lot of great players. I think they were leaning too much on Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is not that good of a player, and they tried to make
he's overrated.
Like he was a super player. Hell no. You had so many people. Title was a damn good player. They should have given him more points or more time to play. Embiid, the way they're trying to help develop him into being a shooter, that's all well and good, but you're a big boy. Stay in the damn lane where you're good at.
Exactly. Rebounds,
Seth, I mean, yeah, he's a Curry, but that's not Stefan. He is Seth.
Exactly.
Point guard, right?
He's not his brother. He's not his brother's keeper at all.
He's not.
Because his brother is bad as freaking hell.
Yeah. I mean, the team had some really good players, like I said, but they just weren't playing as a team. They didn't play as a team, and they didn't cross that thing. So they're going to have to learn. The process failed them, and they're going to have to get rid of Ben Simmons. They probably will. And they probably get rid of the coach, too. But we'll see how it goes, whatever it is, but they've done pretty well. They've gotten better in the past couple of years and sustained late in the season more than they have in decades. So, they've done better. But I'm proud right now. It's good to see the games and the things are like Phoenix Suns. It's been a long time since you've seen the Phoenix Suns dominate.
Yeah, big time.
I'm really happy seeing this. Like I like watching the Phoenix Suns against the LA Clippers. Because either one,
the Clippers go all the way back. I remember when the Clippers was a sorry freaking team. Nobody wanted to play for the Clippers.
Nobody was enthusiastic in getting any kind of merchandise that said Clippers. Nothing.
Hell no.
Nothing. They were like, who the LA Clippers?
That was a good way to offend somebody. You got a T-shirt that says Clippers. Are for real?
Clippers were like the secondary squad, like the Harlem Globetrotters are in New York.
Exactly, the green team.
Yeah, it was like, wow. But I'm really glad that they work and they're doing well. Like Paul George is an amazing player, and I love the way he's diverting to his team the way they are. They got some damn good players. You know what I'm saying? I was hoping they would have kept Lou Williams because Lou is he's a killer. But, the other guys are stepping up, man. But Phoenix is doing awesome.
It's a good series, man. It's a good series. But like I said, I would have loved to see, the Nets and the Sixers, shoot off, man. That would have been a great game. But they don't have, they don't have that kind of oomph to get it going,
Well, we're not going to see the Turnpike Classic yet. It's going to be a minute.
Yeah,
the Turnpike Classic. But we'll see how it goes. I'm looking forward to it. Like right now, if anybody's watching on right now, you hear a lot of bangs on the outside. It is Friday evening in North Beach. This is the area in Atlantic City where Hard Rock is located. They're celebrating by having fireworks tonight. So all the bangs that you're hearing outside of there, the fireworks, if you want to look out the window, do so. Let us know how
they're celebrating summer or something at Hard Rock.
Yeah, I think it's celebrating 3 years. But North Beach itself is trying to celebrate like the summer's open. Come visit the North Beach, the north side of the boardwalk. which is cool. I think there's a lot given. Um, like at the Showboat, the what's it called? Lucky Snake. I think it's called the
Yeah.
Lucky Snake arcade. It's pretty cool, man. It gives you ideas of flashbacks of how the boardwalk used to be, in addition to what like um, what's that in Philadelphia? The oh god, I can't remember the name.
Dave and Buster's.
Dave and Buster's, right? Gives you some semblance of Dave and Buster's or something like
Yeah.
that, which is cool. It gives you some options, some difference than what you've seen. It adds to the luster of the world famous pier in Atlantic City. You know what I mean? And then the luster of the Hard Rock. So it's all good. We went there. My wife and I and my son went down there to see at Showboat. I said Showboats. No, I said Showboat. I said the snake is at Showboat.
Yeah, the Lucky Snake is at Showboats. Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, yeah. We went by there just to see and check it out. We saw like the rooms and everything. It looked pretty good. Like it was something. It was a good start. I know they had room to work with it, and this is good. And I think it's going to be supported. And one thing I'm starting to recognize, and I said to my son, it has rooms where people use for a lot of partying. So there's going to be a lot of partying happening in that building.
Yeah, I saw the private lounges there.
Woo, boy. I can imagine the shit that's going to happen in there. But, whatever the situation.
Right in the middle of the in the middle of the floor there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the ring? Yeah, the boxing ring?
Yeah.
I don't, you know what? I can see it now. It's going to be open. What was that? The strongest, not the strongest man. What was that tournament where people would box? It was Tough Man. The Tough Man contest. I can see that coming there and opening it up and people just pounding away and beating each other down every night. Oh, man.
I don't think they want to hold themselves to that kind of a liability, if you ask me.
True that, because that's a big ass insurance bill. Plus, if I'm not mistaken, the boxing licensing board, all the licensing and all that stuff, they're going to get involved. You can't have that type of an event without them being sanctioned.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So just there probably for make it look like something,
Yeah. What's my man Larry Hazard? He ain't having it. He's not having it. Nope. Strong hand in Jersey. Love him. Good people. So what were we talking about? Oh, the North Beach fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
4th of July should be something special. Now with the pandemic, I look forward to. Are you planning to do anything on the 4th of July?
R&R.
Yes.
The double R.
Roasting and renovation. Yes. Got you. I'm gonna see what the 4th of July is like. There's a lot of activities. One thing I told my wife and I'm looking forward to is these outdoor festivals, music festivals.
Okay.
I used to love going to the different festivals all over the place. I'm looking forward to seeing one of those. Going in person, whether it's Philadelphia, whatever.
Yeah, that definitely sounds good. Also, yeah. Because I normally would, pay a visit to the Caribbean Festival up there, Penn's Landing.
At the pier.
And Puerto Rican Festival there too. African Festival at Penn's Landing and Knockabout here and there.
Gotta jump on it fast though. They're gonna be people hungry, starving to go to them things. So
I know.
10 seconds after the announcement of the tickets being sold, boom, they sold out.
With Penn's Landing and stuff, it's not like you have to pay to get in there, but everybody just lines up, at the concession stands like over and over. So it's a pretty long line here and there.
But you know what? Going over to the pier where the festival pier is, to be able to access the pier, that's where they stop you at the front, and they charge you because I forget where were we going to? Was it I think it was the Roots picnic, and we were trying to go there that day, and they stopped in the front. And you couldn't get there unless you paid your money to get in, and you had tickets that you produced.
Okay, so I know exactly where you are because there's some gates right there.
I'm like, I don't know about going in free. Trust me, I'd have been up in that piece if it was free.
Yeah, well, with the Caribbean Festival, it's open to the public. So some of these things are open to the public, and some of them, maybe closed.
Yeah. Well, I'm expecting the boardwalk to be filled with some soca in the sound squads, these guys with these monster speakers in the back of their truck.
Yeah, I seem to be getting emails from these guys and stuff. I'm getting the emails and stuff coming across on my phone and in my email.
Hell yeah, the sound system. I think I told you that one time they came in, they're fully stretched. They created this whole hedonistic area outside on the beach.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Big ass pool, music. It was rocking. They had a good time, and they were having a good time up in that piece. It was hot, but
well, remember they're all island people, so they know how to party. Trust me.
Trust me, I'm one. I know. You know.
I mean, the beach, water.
Exactly. The music rocking. It was wonderful. It was wonderful. It was a healthy thing, man. You know, it's just a good thing to see people enjoying themselves in a safe atmosphere. You know what I mean? So we'll see how it is. But I know it's going to be crazy as it is. There's so many reports talking about how the festivities are starting to build up. Like you see the momentum of so much entertainment coming to Atlantic City, so much entertainment throughout the area. So many different activities. Like just recently, I just saw the basketball court was completed at Bader Field that they're going to utilize for the Stay Hungry Classic something. And if I'm not mistaken, there's going to be some additional events at Bader Field. I don't know to the same extent, but I think it's a good idea to expand our horizons when it comes.
I mean, Bader Field's been sitting there. They built a brand new stadium at one time over there, and then after the baseball was done and over with, that was it. I mean, it just sat dormant for many years.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy? They had the Electric Company, which is the festival organizers and concert company, Electric Company, Live. It's called Live, Live Nation, which is the Electric Company. That's the name of the company, parent company. They had an agreement here with Atlantic City to be able to have access to the boardwalk to have these summer festivals. They didn't tell anybody that they had already secured the artist, which is the name of the group. I think it's called Fish. For 3 days,
Fish,
super festival for 3 days on the beach on the boardwalk, and didn't have a conversation with city officials. It was crazy because speaking with the BA at the time, he was like, "Yo, I didn't hear about it until after the fact. It's like they didn't even engage us in a conversation until the very end." I was like, "See, you got to be careful about that contract and who's actually making the contract." But the 3 days out of this summer is going to be Fish and all the people who listen to Fish on the beach.
Fish is something else because remember I just mentioned to you about the two cowboys that was actually fighting, on the floor, the casino floor at Trump Plaza.
Yeah.
They were actually dressed up as cowboys, and that's what Fish, all of their people come in costumes.
Oh, that ought to be special.
That's the group right there, Fish.
That ought to be special. We'll see how that goes. But we're going to see quite a lot of stuff. I know there's concerts going on, and there was an agreement made with the Casino Redevelopment Authority to fund concerts for not just one specific one, because we would see an influx of country music concerts coming on the boardwalk and on the beach and stuff like that. And we were like, okay, that's all well and good, but what about for the people who don't listen to country music? What else? I've been pushing forever. Yeah, we need to get Bruno Mars and my man from Miami, Pitbull, and Bruno Mars to have this massive concert on the beach. You talking about partying? Yo, have them on the beach. The party that we had, it would touch all kinds of music, all kinds of people. Everybody would want to go. All the bars would enjoy it because
that would be massive.
You know what I mean? Bruno Mars alone, the type caliber of music, his catalog, what he has, and then the amount of people who come with him a lot of times.
Yeah, because there's another Hispanic singer. I can't remember his name. That's very popular.
Bad Bunny?
No, not him. I can't remember the freaking guy's name.
We couldn't have Bad Bunny. We could not have Ozuna. We could not have Don Omar. We couldn't have them because that type of music is risque. There's a lot of cursing. There's a lot of sexual annotation. They just, it's risque. It would be mad people there. It would be a lot of people. I would go. It would be some funky beats, great music, but it would be kind of hard. I mean,
Mark Anthony,
salsa, international salsa star Mark Anthony. That would be huge.
I know, that's what I was thinking. That would be massive. That's why I said Mark Anthony. Yeah,
we would possibly need the entire beach. It would have to be on the other side of the board.
Freaking Anthony.
All the way uptown.
He is popular as freaking hell, isn't he?
He's still selling out super domes, super stadiums. He's still the only person I know in history that's ever sold that Brazilian soccer stadium in Brazil that's something like a couple 100,000 people sitting there. Every time he goes there, he's got to do multiple names because so many people. And I'm like, he's still doing it, something like that. Yeah, that would be big.
He's like another pope.
True that. That would be huge.
Yeah, Mark Anthony. Because when I hear left and right, Mark Anthony. I mean, a lot of women would die for freaking Mark Anthony.
Yeah, and it'd be cool because if you have Mark Anthony, then we say, all right, call Will Smith and get Bad Bunny, and they can do that song that they did all together. The one I thought it was going to be a hit and wasn't.
Which one was that?
What was the name of that song, Joe? You remember that? Let's see. No, I can't play it because last time I played a song from YouTube or something from YouTube, they blocked me.
Because I know that one with Will Smith, "Welcome to Miami." I like that song.
Yeah, that's a classic. But no,
yeah,
this was called "Está Rico." Will Smith, Mark Anthony, Will Smith, Bad Bunny. It's called "Está Rico."
Never heard that one.
It's a funky song. Yeah, it's a funky song. But yeah, we can't play it.
Yeah, you know, Mark Anthony, like I said, that would be a major sellout.
Oh yeah, yeah. Can you imagine if they had like a? Remember how back in the day we used to have like Budweiser Fest?
Yeah.
You know, no.
On the beach?
No. My son's talking about getting Drake on the beach. No.
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 You know, he could not
Drake can stay in Canada.
No, exactly. My son looks at Drake to be immense, and I'm like, he's immense to a certain level. He can't touch every age bracket.
No.
You know, he can't touch every region of the world. He's good.
There's some performers that could cover straight across the board, and then others could only hit certain sectors.
Yeah, like Bruno Mars hits everybody.
Correct, across the board.
Yeah.
And what do you call an across the board artist?
Yep. You know, everybody will enjoy the type of music. You're not going to turn around. Drake just not going to get everybody. Some of it you'll like, some of it, but the majority you're not going to.
But here goes something real good for you, Mo. Remember a few summers ago when they used to have that Uptown Festival up there, when you have the old school, you know, like the Dells, all of this
every year, right?
Yeah, that was really nice. That was good. That was good, man. That was definitely good.
You like that, huh?
I enjoyed every bit of it because you know the strange thing about it. I went to one of the concerts, and I left Atlantic City with my sister, and I said, "Let's head up to Philly." Mm-hmm. And I left here after watching the concert here, shot up to Philadelphia, and I actually saw In Vogue, you know, The Time, Morris Day and The Time, Boys to Men at Penn's Landing. So down here, I actually saw War, you know, and I believe probably two other groups, you know, down here. It was really nice. I had like 6 acts going. After this was done and over with, I was up in Philly.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was a good time.
Good night. Huh?
Good time for you. We have, under previous administrations, we used to have the regular summer series of concerts and inlet.
Exactly.
And it was always older music, older, more mature music.
Oh, yeah.
It was celebrated by a large group of individuals.
Yeah.
And it hit everyone. And after a while, you start getting tired of the same old sounds. At least me. I wanted something different. I like, you know,
different
something
like
new.
what? I mean, you had the Whispers, you had the Temptations, the Stylistics, the Dells, War. I mean, these are good. These are magnificent groups that you will definitely have to pay for.
They're iconic.
They're $1, my friend.
Right. They're iconic. They're iconic in the 60s and 70s. But if we're talking about 90s, 2000s,
there are certain sounds that actually lies in infinity, and totally, you know, straight across the board.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? There's no doubt about it.
Good music has no time.
You can get your you know, your relative back on board here, and he will tell you, you know, all these guys from way back in the day, you know, even like Gladys Knight, you know, there's another one that's still performing. A lot of these people. What are you talking about? What would you consider as really good music by today's standards? Look, I like to hear your version of this.
Well, I'm in a little bit of mix of everything. Like nowadays, we're lacking. You know, there's not a lot of great music, modern music. Like I said, I'm still an old school person, but I like to go modern. You know, go to the front, come to the back. Like if you throw in a little Chris Stapleton with a little Justin Timberlake, and then throw on the Ohio Players, and then come back and then hit Anita Baker and then you come back with a little Bad Bunny. You put a little Mongo Santa Maria, and then you come forward and you'll have a little Yusu Endor, a little international flavor. I like a little mix of it. When it comes to the age bracket wise, you can't question what's your favorite because of the time frame you was raised in. You know what I mean? So you gravitate to it. I gravitate, like I said, I gravitate to hip hop. Give me the origins of hip hop any day, all day, which around that time frame is a lot of the purebred R&B. Is it the old soul music? I get remnants of it, and I respect it and love it too, but I don't gravitate to it all because to me it doesn't reflect the same way. Like my upbringing was a little different of a time period. You know, I was around different types of music, so I don't gravitate to it the same way. But I respect it, and I know it, and I know how good it is. I have value in it. You know what I mean? I will sit down there and listen to Ohio players in a minute. You know, put on my man Donny Hathaway. What? Luther Vandross. Yes. You know, I love good music, but I don't want to be solely entrenched when I have the I'm not gonna say boy bands, but the groups with the multiple singers in it. After a while, they start sounding the same, and they're all crying and whining. Everyone's got high pitched voice talking about how they're doing this, and I'm like, after a while, that gets frustrating to me. You know, it's not that they're not good; it's just not my preference. I get to see, I hear a little bit, but you know, I've seen them every year for years, every year. Shy Lights, years. The Dells, years, over and over again. There was tons of the Motown area singers that would come to Langston, and it was kudos to the administration and previous mayor Rennie for being a conduit of that.
Yeah,
because it helped a lot of people feel comfortable, and that's good. We should have something like that. Like back in the day, we also had like the Jazz Fest. You know, there's rooms to have that. We have a space like that. Why don't you have the R&B Soul Music Festival? Bring that. You know, so you have solely that for a good day. And then on the next venture, you have the Jazz Festival of Soul Jazz. You know, on the next venture, you have the Gospel Music Festival. You know, whatever the situation is, I think there's room and opportunity for people to enjoy all facets of music. You know, but just country western on the boardwalk, no.
Country western on the boardwalk.
Yeah, not my thing. Not my thing. Not my thing. I don't.
I mean, some people will like it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you have little Nas and some of these other guys. You know,
nah. I mean, some country westerns, yo, I'm down with it because you have pure singers. I love pure singers. Like my man Chris Stapleton, I still say that man can sing his ass off. He's an amazing vocalist. When he sings Tennessee Whiskey, boy, I feel it on the wretches, the bottom parts of my heart. I feel it, you know. But you have some great singers, man, and then you have some great music. I used to like Shania Twain. Shania Twain used to sing a lot of beautiful songs. The one, Still in Love, Still the One, was a beautiful song to me. I really love that song. It meant a lot. I mean, it reminded me of my wife, you know, back when we were young, when we first dating. It reminded me of her. So,
okay.
No need for plus points. I'm not trying to, you know, brown points or what do you call it?
Brownie points.
I'm not getting brownie points. I don't need to. That's my wife already, so it's all good. But it was good songs like that. I think we have time to do so. But you know what I'd like to do is also I'd like to try to promote some of these young singers now because we've had some great vocalists, young people, or vocalists that are already established, people who are not so young that have beautiful voices. Man, give them a chance to have that focus. You know, we started. I think the idea of having a stage on the boardwalk was to try to give that type of arena.
That's the one in front of the convention center, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
And I think that was the intention, and it got away. You didn't see the same type. It'd be like the marauding players of polka that would come up there and play on a Tuesday night.
Don't they do that anymore? Because I remember 2019, 2018, you know, on the boardwalk, a lot of these guys will perform on that stage, you know, in front of Convention Center.
Yeah, you had the Chicken Bone Beach series. They would play jazz and some of the R&B songs that would be there. Well, we haven't had it in a year, you know, the pandemic wise, but I don't know how it's going to go this year.
Well, we're exiting slowly but surely this pandemic. So, you know, hopefully, you know, things will get back to some type of normalcy.
Yeah. You know, it's crazy. Speaking about the pandemic, it's just recently, I just saw, I think it was NewJersey.com had an article, and it showed Governor Murphy having this look of I think bewilderment. He had his face, hands on his shoulder, on his head like this, and looking like I don't know how. But the report suggests that COVID numbers are increasing in New Jersey, although the variant is threatening also. But there's a lot of positive encouragement that we're doing well. We're doing well, but the number of COVID-19 cases in New Jersey have increased and are still increasing. So that's just something to consider. You know,
And
we
they
saw,
said 65% of New Jerseyans are, have already been fully vaccinated, compared to like Pennsylvania and Delaware and some of the other states.
Mhm.
But they're trying to get to 70%, herd immunity, once you close that 70%, but they just can't seem to hit that 70%. Not even Biden is able to hit that 70%.
But you know the excuse. Did you hear the excuse? What target audience they're saying that they just can't break the connection. They can't get through. Young
The
people,
younger, the younger generation.
younger generation. They're
You know,
they're they're thinking, the younger generation, the conspiracy theorists, they will support this way and that way.
a lot of them think that they're invincible as it stands. When you're young, you do a lot of craziness until it hits you.
Yep, that you can sustain it just in case. And I'm like, yo,
Exactly.
why even test it? Why even
They don't care.
tempt fate? Why would you even do that, right?
Yeah, like I said, some of them tested and they crap out.
Hmm.
That's just the bottom line.
Yeah. Well, we're definitely going to see how it unfolds. So we'll see. And you know what? I just stumbled on. Remember, kept talking about the different vaccines. I was able to stumble on a comparison with all of the active vaccines that were available. We talked about the different ones: Sputnik, Moderna,
I mentioned
Pfizer,
that.
J&J, the
AstraZeneca.
right AstraZeneca. Those are the top five. But the other two, Novax and Pravax, I think is the ones that I just identified a little earlier. So Renee said the young people aren't stupid. No, they're not. That's their opinion. It's their lives. You know what I mean? But
That's it.
we have to be very considerate of everyone's lives. But looking in the comparison, this one report basically talked about efficacy rates. It was an extensive report. There was one I'm going to definitely look into a little bit more. But it talked about the occurrences of extraordinary situations where, like paralysis, one person had extraordinary infections, gallbladder. One person went blind for a short time. The crazy shit that would happen here and there. Again, this is one of the type of things like when I first got a report that was sent to me, it was a database of vaccines during the vaccine testing, and it showed all the various things, and it was crazy, and people weren't paying attention, and they were just like screaming and making all this big fuss about it because they were like, you're trying to scare people not taking the vaccine. A lot of bullshit is what they were doing. And, because of their emotions involved, and they thought it was this way, and it's like, no, it's a database. Look at it for what it is and learn your information so you'll get a better understanding. What we always do. We're always sharing information so you have a better understanding. You feel more comfortable moving forward, whether you want to get the vaccine or not. At least you'll be comfortable in knowing information. Excuse me. So looking at the database and considering what I saw on this thing, it was really extensive, man. It was really helpful. It gave me a better understanding of which companies seem to be a lot more credible.
Which one?
Well, the Moderna and Pfizer seem to be internationally more credible. AstraZeneca ran into issues in certain regions of the world. Because remember, AstraZeneca was one of the ones that was testing in Africa. When everyone else wasn't, AstraZeneca was. So the question is, why were they testing their vaccines on nations that were considered of color? Now, does it has to do with the fact of the research that was done on HIV/AIDS and vaccines in the early 90s when after Magic Johnson was caught, had found out he had HIV/AIDS. There was a big surge of information that the vaccine was already found in Europe, and he was flying to Europe on a regular basis, saying that it was a vaccine that apparently only worked with people who are melanated. So, and that's one of the reasons why America hasn't happened. Well, the man is still thriving today and looks really well and healthy. Is it to be true? I don't know. But is this AstraZeneca following the same path of research and going to the areas where you have melanated people and they're finding how one thing affects melanated people versus non-melanated people? Whether they launch it this way or that way, I don't know. But I mean, it's just information, credible information to look at. And it's always the more informed you are, the better information you are, and the less likely you are to be fooled, and less likely you'll feel bad about the decision you make. So, but it was pretty good because like I said, it showed the depth. It shows the financing. It was really in depth, man. I got to go back to it. I have it on I got my laptop running the show, but on my PC I have it there, and I need to look back at it. It's really interesting. Really interesting. I mean, a lot of data. It was telling you what countries they were researching. It was telling you the amount of financing that was available on the research sites. The discussion of Wuhan was part of the discussion. Matter of fact, on a report that was adjacent to it, was talking about the origins of the vaccine and how France was in the development of the laboratory, the vaccine, the vaccination laboratory in Wuhan, the Chinese national vaccine laboratory that was made in Wuhan, was in partnership with the nation of France. And France was so adamant of getting specific things that they thought it was necessary because, they're first world advancement in technology and medicine too, like we are. And they were so adamant that they became complacent to the Chinese government, where they basically pushed them out and they finished it. It was suggesting so much where they used a lot of live animals for testing, and France was saying no, and they kept pushing the idea, and a lot of things that France was pushing, China was pushing away from because it was limiting the success rate in their point of view, and also potentially halting the development of further vaccines because of the degree of vaccine testing that France was mandating. So I was like, wow, the more and more information you get, the more you find out. So it was a good thing. I need to look into researching more. And when I have it, I'll make sure I make it available for everyone who's interested in getting this information. But more and more information is readily available. Like, do you know that?
Well, like I say, you have to do your due diligence. There's no doubt about it. And once again, like I've always said in the past, it's your right and it's your life. At the end of the day, only you are held responsible for what you do.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep. And there was certainty found, research being done, that people who have been subjected to COVID-19, who have had COVID-19 in their system and they survived COVID-19 and then actually fought COVID-19, creating antibodies, are now immune to the effects of COVID-19 moving in the future. They are immune. So you can develop immunity in your system. Not a temporary immunity. They're suggesting permanent immunity from COVID-19. So I think and their discussion is, could you be immune to the now Delta variant too? And they're suggesting that, yeah, once you have early stages of COVID-19, before all the variants took place, your body could have developed enough antibodies, and your immune system kicks in almost immediately when it comes back about, that it won't be able to set ground or foundation in your system to affect you. So in essence, it's making you immune. How nice!
But that goes along with based on my understanding, with a certain blood type also. That goes along with a certain blood type.
I heard that discussion, and I think there was a lot of gravitation towards B and B negative being the right.
Correct.
O and O
goes along with a certain blood type.
Yeah, certain ones that are
right. Which is a very rare type blood type in actuality.
Yeah.
Based on my understanding.
Yeah, because that's the other thing that we kept emphasizing before. COVID-19 is not a respiratory issue; it's a blood-borne issue.
It is.
It's a blood-borne, so it's a thing to be considered of. But there's more. The science behind blood types is deep, man. I wish I had a better reference because there's so much to it. Because there's better. Certain blood types are better at being like vegetarians versus a carnivore, and then some people process iron better than others based on their blood type. And if you knew your blood type, your health benefits. If you're applicable or more friendly to your blood type, you're actually you get stronger, healthier. And I'm like, I need to search because shit.
So that blood type goes through that generational type thing. You see what I'm saying? When it says, it's in the genes, basically it's in the blood.
Yeah. And see if I find out what I need as far as a remedy, man. I'll grow my hair back or something.
I'm good.
I like that breeze in the summertime, right?
Yeah, hey, ain't no future in the front. Be who you are. That's it.
Absolutely.
Love it or leave it. Love it or leave it.
I told my wife the other day, if I had the opportunity of growing my hair again, if I had a full head of hair, how would it be? I said it would probably be salt and pepper, and I would love it. I would love it. Salt and pepper be cool as hell with the nice haircut and the whole now matching the salt and pepper beard. I'd be fly as hell. But it's all good. For now, I'll stay the sexiest man in this chair.
Yeah, sure, ain't nothing wrong with it, to tell you the truth. It took me a little while to get used to, but once I did, I'm like, hey, it is what it is.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, my brother, it is now 10 o'clock. It is time has flied. As always, we hit the 3-hour mark.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, and I figured why not close out for now. We'll touch back again next week. Let me see the date because I want to make sure.
Any events happening in Atlantic City that people should know about that you're aware of?
I'm going to touch up on it. I mean, one is the Unity Day picnic and parade, which takes place tomorrow.
Okay, where? When? What time?
At 11 a.m. on until they finish. It's probably 11 to 4 or 11 to 2 is the parade. From 2 to 6 or 8 o'clock is going to be the festivities after the fact. So it'll start from MLK and go down MLK through the city and then end up in the Center City Park off of South Carolina, between South Carolina and Tennessee Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
South Carolina and North Carolina on Atlantic Avenue, and then that's where the festivities are. There'll be a grill cooking out some food, information. There'll be music. Some agencies will be there to give information to the public, free information. This will be raffles. There's some giveaways, T-shirts and what have you. There's drum corps. There's step teams. Lots of music to be had. Lots of fun to be had. Everyone is welcome to participate. 11 a.m. We have right now over 25 to 30 different agencies, in addition to like between 6 and 10 different drum and cheer squads that'll be participating. So it should be pretty.
And it's from
MLK, the school.
MLK, okay.
All the way walking and navigating off of MLK down to Arctic Avenue, down over to City Hall, where the turn will be had for Center City, Center City Park, in front of the court system, between the courts and what used to be the 7-Eleven, or some people like to have the Hollywood fried chicken. No, it's not Hollywood. I'm thinking Elizabeth. The chicken shop right on Atlantic Avenue. That'll be there. That's
Crown's Chicken there.
Yeah, Crown's Chicken. Yep. Ooh, I just had a flashback. You said Hollywood fried chicken. That's my spot in Elizabeth. Ja, a sister named by Renee, she said, "Congratulations on your graduation."
Thank you.
You can hear his voice. He said, "Thank you."
Yeah.
And then for the week, just a lot of people celebrating. What we're gonna do is, since that celebrations been a lot of celebrations for the graduations or the graduates. My son, we're gonna celebrate his graduation on next Friday. We're still gonna have the show, but it may be an hour late, might not be, depends on how quick we move. But if we're on, we're on. You know what I'm saying? That's how we're gonna do. We're gonna continue going. But next Friday, we're gonna be celebrating, and we're looking to celebrate at the municipal lake called the Cove in Mays Landing. It's the lake, the little lake area there, and we'll be celebrating his graduation. In addition to anyone who didn't get a chance to celebrate their own graduation, you're welcome to come on down and celebrate with us. We're gonna have some goodies, some refreshments, a little bit of music, and everybody just come together as a community and celebrate one another and their accomplishments. It's not only did the youth accomplish a major task during this pandemic by graduating, but the families didn't rip themselves apart and go crazy with the kids being at home all the time.
Exactly.
So successfully graduated. All of us, family members, and the students have graduated. So next Friday, we're going to enjoy ourselves from about 11 to 6 in Mays Landing at the Cove. So if you're down, if you're interested, you're welcome to come on down. Come and grab a burger. Come and sit in to celebrate your graduate. And if you have a graduate that, times are tough and you just couldn't do anything to celebrate with them the graduation and you want, send them. Come on through.
It's a unity for the community, huh?
That's it. We'll celebrate. We'll see if we can have enough cupcakes for everybody to enjoy. But we'll have some snacks. Snacks and refreshments so people can enjoy. Hopefully we'll have enough burgers and glizzies is what they call the hot dogs. Some burgers and glizzies for everybody, some chips and beverages, so we can have something to fresh and enjoy one another. It's one of those harmless, innocent ventures that we have. I am not a beach swimmer. I'm a lake swimmer, so I enjoy the lake a lot more. However, for those that are participating and staying at the beach, 4th of July weekend is next weekend. There's going to be lots of activities in the city. Of course, if I'm not mistaken, it's the weekend. I heard there's Carchella. I think that's the discussion. Is a big car show, venture type stuff that I think is coming down this weekend. I'm not totally certain. They don't inform us about a lot of activities. But there's other things going on throughout the city. If you do come to Atlantic City, come to enjoy yourself. 4th of July has always been one where there's a lot of activity, a lot of people. It gets bumper to bumper everywhere on the boardwalk and outside. Folks, if you come on down, just be safe. Play it safe. Understand we're still pandemic situation. Don't go crazy. Don't look for mass crowds. If you just want to come down and have a beverage, there's plenty of water holes that you can come down and have a good time to have a drink here and there. Food, we got 5-star restaurants with little holes in the walls. You got places to get good grub. The beaches, we have wonderful beaches, regardless of what NewJersey.com and anybody else says. We got great beaches if you just want to have a good time.
The difference is they're free.
Yep.
Some of these places you need a beach permit.
Exactly. They're free. We got places that we call the Inkwell, and then you got places that Chicken Bone Beach, and you got other places that are more down southern side of the beach that people want to enjoy. So there's a little bit of everybody in addition to the game.
Get an early morning bike ride or walk on the boardwalk.
Exactly.
Enjoy the summer. Summer is here. It comes once a year. 2021 is here.
Walking the streets, go to the different spots off the boardwalk, go to restaurants, go to pizza shops, hot dog shops, corner stores. We got bodegas that sell some of
the best prices and some of the best food off the boardwalk.
Hell yeah. We got bodegas and corner stores that sell some of the best fried chicken and fries and cheesesteaks anyone else could have anywhere. We got a lot of good grub and a lot of good time. If you want to go shopping, of course, we got the walk and you got other places like that. Atlantic City, the terminology they're trying to use now is it's lit, it's live, and we outside. I think that was some stupid shit like that. But the intent is real. It's, we're enjoying ourselves as an opportunity for everyone to come on down.
Some more concerts back uptown Atlantic City, Mo. I'll tell you, that would also get nice traffic because I see people gravitated off the boardwalk to Garner's Basin to check the music out, the jazz over there or whatever, the shows that they had, from the groups. That was really nice. Really nice.
Well, besides that, Garner's Basin also is the home of Back Bay Ale House, which is a popular watering hole and a good restaurant to eat. It's also home to Fish Heads.
And Gilcrest.
Gilcrest breakfast.
Another one,
breakfast brunch type food and Fish Heads, which is the local favorite for sandwiches and things like this and seafood. So those are the local, and I think there's a bar there. I think that's affiliated to, I forget the name of what it used to be, but I think that's Back Bay. But if you want to have a good something to drink and somewhere you're gonna munch good food, Back Bay Ale House is a great views, chill spots. Good space that you want to walk around. You can.
And you can hop on a cruise out there while you're back there. Remember that, boat.
Yeah, around the way.
There's a boat back there. You can actually, around the Back Bay.
Yeah, and it's adjacent to a local favorite for locals and people who know the city, been around the city, called the Seawall. You'll see tons of people. It's just family oriented. Atmosphere, behavior, tons of people come in. It's someplace where everybody can connect and come together.
And the folks are friendly, folks. They're very friendly people.
Yeah.
Don't go by what you see or hear in the media. They're very friendly people.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Things are happening and we're doing what we can to create a solution to eliminate all these things that are happening. But I strongly believe if you come with the best of intentions to share love and good times, you're going to get received with love and good times.
Yeah, for sure.
Have respect in your heart, and you're respectful about coming into a town and not just coming in as an Airbnb and just throwing shit on the ground and being irate and just crazy and all that stuff. As long as you understand that you're coming into someone else's
Come
home,
with respect.
yeah, you can have a great time, man. So
Come with a little bit of respect and love, and you will get it back in return. That's just the bottom line.
Goes along the way. Atlantic City is like everywhere else. You know, you heard recent reports in Puerto Rico, where Puerto Rican nationalists, the federales, as they call them, the national police, are actually taking people out of their Airbnbs and locking them up for the duration of their vacation because they're not following the laws, being disrespectful to the community, discarding trash in places they don't need to be, lewd behavior, urinate out in public, things that partiers like to do and not thinking it impacts the community. It's like Lang City. You do that shit here, you're not going to get the best.
Exactly. Respect it like you respect your own crib. That's the bottom line. And
you know what?
It like you respect your own crib.
I do one better. Don't respect it like it's your crib. Respect our crib, period.
Yeah. One notch up. There it is. One notch up.
Yeah. But there's places that you can go to. Ocean has pools. Golden Nugget have pools. Borgata have pools. They have pool parties, day parties. Borgata is known, so is Ocean, for the nightlife. All the DJs that come in.
Did they open up those places again?
Huh?
Did they open up some of those nightclubs?
I don't know if the nightclubs have.
Remember, you still have, with CDC and the whole 9 yards. I
don't know if that's fully open just yet, but I know.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, but I think the pools are still open, and sometimes they're playing music.
I think the pool might be just for the guests. That's about it.
Well, yeah, of course, but the way they were doing day parties before, I think they're starting to negotiate opportunities for day parties at the pools. Harris Pool, Ocean Pool, they have these large pools. I think they're going to be opening up for opportunities. I'm not shocked for the 4th that all that stuff becomes available. We're almost at 100% capacity or availability based on CDC and the state government, allowance of what we can and cannot do. So we're almost there. So if you want to skate, there's skating opportunities. There's clubs now doing skating, roller skating. So there's a lot to do there.
What clubs are doing roller skating?
Not a club. The clubs as in members. People who are actually part of a team of roller skaters that are going out to streets. Young skating rink.
Oh, young? Okay.
Young skating rink. Yeah. There's a band of young folks that come together. I think Kamal Johnson's one of them, or it might be the spearhead behind it. But I think he has Wednesday and Sunday nights that they have adult skating, and it's a great feedback, man. A lot of people go out.
People have invited me to go there, but I've never really made it.
You got to take them roller skates out of the closet and blow that dust off of them wheels, man.
Was part of a roller skating team many years ago. My boys, they're all over the United States now.
I imagine y'all could still do it if you wanted to, man. So it's finally creeping into the area, and people are starting. I said that craze, that the fanfare for skating, roller skating.
You know what's strange about it, because in Little Egg Harbor, I believe it was a school or a building there, and on the side of the building, they just need to resurface that entire area, and it would be beautiful for a lot of events there. I'm surprised the building is just sitting there dormant.
Where?
I'm like in Little Egg Harbor City.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It may have been a school at one time, and they built a new school and they just left that huge playground the whole 9 yards. I'm like, wow, it would be great for roller skating to repave the entire area. You can get some type of activity going inside of there,
Yeah. The only thing about roller skating is that the fear of falling is real. And if you're out on blacktop, that should hurt.
But Mo, is that any different from swimming? The fear of drowning is also real.
No, but what I'm saying in contrary to roller skating indoors, when you're on parka, it's usually padded underneath. There's a level of padding, and it's not as hurting. You don't get as hurt when you're rolling indoors on parka, roller skating rolling on parka than you are on blacktop or concrete. It's just a little degree of pain difference. That's all.
It depends on how much padding you have, my brother.
Of course.
It depends on your padding,
Of course, but I tell you what, I would rather fall on parka than concrete or ice any day.
Because I've even seen them at Uptown Complex. People are skating around in the tennis court area.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot more people skating, and like I said, People have been reintroduced to that concept because people are doing it all over. Chicago's huge. Atlanta.
Well, Chicago was notorious for skating all along, you know.
Yeah, so people are starting to introduce themselves again back into that, which is good. It's a good thing, man.
It's a good exercise. It's good exercise.
It's harmless. It's athletic, and you know it requires you to have a little rhythm. So not everybody want to get into it.
The Franklinville days, man. I'm telling you.
Shit, I love the roller skating, man. If I can get my back together, I won't be scared to go back on the roller skate. So you know, but I'll get there. See,
yeah, you know, there's certain things I enjoy. It's roller skating, bicycling, bowling. You know, those are like my favorites. You know, swimming.
I was like, I like swimming. I like playing basketball and fishing.
I like that. You say fishing?
Yeah.
I'll pass.
Certain things I enjoy.
I go fishing at the supermarket, my brother.
You guaranteed to catch what you're looking for, right?
Always. And it's already, you know, sauteed and everything.
I hear you. But there's so many activities that you can enjoy. In addition to, if you want to ride a bike on the boardwalk, the local bike shop owner, I forget what he calls the second one, but it's Digger. My man Digger has a shop, the second bike shop on the boardwalk, and he seems to be very, very attentive to the needs of the public, and he has a lot of bikes for people to choose from. It's actually the source of people buying all these electric bikes. Seems to be
that's not riding. Sorry, my brother, that's not riding. It's rolling. Okay,
it's not. But people are getting it. I'm like, you got wheels and a wrench, like you're about to ride the bike, and all you're doing is sitting there hitting the button. Okay, whatever.
Exactly. That's not riding. That's rolling.
Whatever floats your boat.
You're not riding the bike. You're rolling a bike.
Whatever floats your boat. I just wish I had a tricycle. I want a tricycle.
I saw a guy yesterday with 3 wheels. And he was rolling, electric bike, 3 wheels, and he's just flying down the boardwalk.
I've seen an all-terrain bike that has 3 wheels, electric bike that has 3 wheels, all-terrain, with the shifting wheels that go in both directions. Mm-hmm. Those are kind of good. Those are kind of cool. But again, I'm not on the mountainside. I don't need to look at doing that. Like, you know, that kind of thrill was good when I was 20 and younger, but not anymore. I'm 50 and above. I'm not that thrilled about it. But I have a big ass bike now. I mean, big wheels, almost 30-inch wheels, and you know, it sits up pretty high. It's just I want to just chill now in my age. Now, a tricycle's fine. I can carry my music playing and something to drink, and you know, put my dog in a basket and be good. You know, we can take our time.
Dog in the basket.
Yeah, stereotypical like a mug, but I don't give a damn. It's just enjoy the air, enjoy the fun. Why not? You know, that's all.
It's all about living life, man. You only live once. My boy always said that before he passed. You know, you only live once. You got to enjoy it.
That's it. La única vida que tengo. That's right. Yep. My only life I have. Yep. But my brother, I think we're going to close out for the night, man. I just wanted that. Yep. I shared what I know is going to transpire and where it's going to transpire. So, my man, I'll leave it in your hands right now before we close out. And
the thing about it, you know, you did a pretty good job in the closing statement, first of all. So I commend your statement. One. Second of all, you know what you should do, you know, during the weekdays, because a lot of people need to know really some of the events that's happening in Atlantic City or in the surrounding area that maybe they could participate in here and there. So that would be something really good to add a little flavor to what's going on here.
Yeah,
I mean, the pandemic is coming to its tail end. It's not over. We're not out of it. But to get some type of, you know, fresh air, some enjoyment, it's summertime.
Right.
You know, this is the time to get out and have some activities and get some fresh air. So I think, you know, like what you mentioned as far as the Unity Day tomorrow, you know, if you can repeat that again, that would be really good. Mm-hmm. You know, for a lot of people to know what's happening in the community, because it's all about unity and love. That's what it's about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's extremely important that we pay attention to that stuff, because unity includes you and I. That's the only way we're going to have unity, you and I. But tomorrow is the Unity Parade and / festival at the end, from 11 a.m. until we finish, starting at MLK, going down MLK towards Center City, hooking a left, of course, from MLK and Arctic to go towards the Center City Park, which is located on Atlantic Avenue between South Carolina and North Carolina Avenue. where the bus stops are, where we'll have refreshments, a grill, music, a stage, and different agencies representing to give information and different initiatives that'll be there talking about what's available, and the different drum corps, drum teams, cheer teams, different agencies, different respective people in their roles in the community will participate. So it should be a good time.
Yeah, I may just show up, an impromptu, visit.
Mm-hmm. With so much division and so much hate going on around us in the world, this is just a hope to try to bring it together and pull us together, because we definitely feel that love is the solution towards all the bad and all the negative that's going on. That's the way we're going to find a way out of it. To love one another and to love our community together and to bring forth everybody, regardless of where you come from, what you represent, who you love, what you love, how you pray, whatever it is, there's a space for you at the table. And I applaud my colleague, Latoya Dunstan, for being the spearhead for this. And I'm just there for support and whatever I can do to make this successful. But I know when it's her hands and when her vision goes on, it's going to be successful because she cares about the community as much as I do, if not more.
That's good.
Yep. So it ought to be awesome. It's a good time, and hopefully it kicks off a really good weekend. And next week, just be prepared for the suspected heat wave. If the heat wave transpires over to Friday, then you'll see everybody at the Cove. I'll be in the water chilling with chilling with.
And let me see if I get this straight. This is the heat wave, not the group, right?
Heat wave the group.
Exactly, not heat wave the group.
Subliminal
heat wave. Okay, let's see if we can clear the air with that so far. Some people might think it might be the heat wave the group and show up at the Cove expecting music from these guys. So that's not it.
No.
Okay.
I'm not promoting any concerts. I'm not promoting anything. Like, I don't know it. If I had it, I would let it go. But no, I hear the subliminal desires in your ears. You want to get the heat wave. You want to get heat wave and the rest of the concert.
That's a bad group, man. It goes along. Yeah.
It's understood. Yeah, man.
Yeah, so, great group.
Immediately after I find out about some stuff like that, I will let you know, and then I'll let everyone else know on the show. All right. So hopefully we'll see what it goes on, but I'm looking forward to what comes about. The summer's here, y'all. So let's just be safe. Just enjoy yourself and be safe. But come on, Alan, you got to say it, bro. You got to say it.
Yeah. Always be positive and test negative, folks. That's what it's all about, life.
Adrian hits it all the time, every time. That's wisdom coming from the man. So coming from me, I'm always just appreciative for your spending what time you can with us, spending what time you can, sharing what information you do. It's always a us thing, not an I thing or a me thing. When it comes to the new norm, it's about bringing everyone to the table, part of the conversation. Tonight, it seems like not a lot of people were involved doing so much because so many other activities are taking place.
Yeah. It's to be expected.
Yep. We wish everyone well. And always appreciative of having Adrian on with the wisdom he shares and his desires to have some of these old school take place.
And like the old school, man. Go back to the pioneers of hip hop. Everybody's like, oh, LL Cool J, the pioneer of hip hop. There's a lot of them out there. Yeah, Curtis Gold, LL Cool J, the list goes on and on.
Absolutely. I think there's room and opportunities for us to enjoy lots of music, all kinds of music.
The first pioneers of female hip hop, one of them is, Sequence.
Finesse
Sequence, yeah. One of the members from Sequence, yeah.
Right. We're talking about some Bronx stuff from way back in the day,
19. Hey, man, that's how we used to put it down, man. I'm telling you, beatboxing. People hear about, Biggie rapping and he used to play his beatbox on Saturday night until his tape pop. I'm familiar with all that. Been there, done that.
I know you're aware.
I may not look that old, but trust and believe, we've gotten there.
I know you represent well, bro. You're ageless.
No doubt.
So for all of you watching, we wish you the best. We hope that your week is productive. Make sure you pay attention to the elderly and the children as we go on. And as these doors open from this pandemic, don't lose your mind. Just shed all the stress, whatever you can. Like my man Adrian said, please test positive. Test negative.
Test negative.
Positive.
Be positive, test negative.
Exactly. Woo. And love one another more, y'all, because it's important.
That's right. It's all about love, man.
Y'all stay blessed, and thank you for showing. And we'll see everybody next week, same time, same channel. Different situation, probably a little more sunburn too, but that's them.
Oh, me or you?
Me.
It looks like I'm badly tanned.
I get a little sun kiss.
Recently.
I get a little sun kiss. My lips looking like they glow in the dark, and I get a little sun kiss. I get that, and after that, I'm good for the sun.
So I did a little bit of car work outside. A few days working in my car. So,
Okay.
Yeah, hooking up some cameras and stuff.
Oh shit. Okay. I think I need to do that with mine. There's some stuff I need to do. Matter of fact, I know I need to do it. Got to get it.
Yeah, I already did the stereo, so I did like backup cameras and stuff.
Oh, okay. All right. The high-tech Maxima. I got you.
Hey,
well,
it's all for the good. It's all for the good, man.
Always is, man. It always is. Let me make sure I hit the right banner this time. Last week, I think we just rolled out. No banner, no nothing. Wish everybody well next time. Peace. And let's see, get the other one. And then I'll peace us out. All right, beloved.
All right, man.